Welcome back to the fucking stream. I started early and I had to stop, but now I'm back and I'm here to start. Watch me resist getting gaslit by Whick? Question mark? I don't know exactly how this conversation is going to go, but I'm going to destroy him.
It's a cruel, cruel world, all you little boys and girls, and some mean, nasty people want to have you for their supper. But if you follow me, you can all be free, free, you can all be free. As a bird on a big TV, if you dream, if you dream, if you dream, my dream. Full of nasty boys and girls, full of selfish, mean, nasty people, nasty, 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 nasty. But there's a way you can make your day. You can laugh, you can smile, you can come and stay a while. You can dream my dream, you can have it all with me. You can dream my dream, you can dream my dream, you can
Dream my dream. Okay, so now let's do the stream now, huh? I guess I was getting a couple comments last time suggesting it might be a little bit low energy. Well, okay, I did a push-up. I didn't really, but I guess I'm ready now. I'm ready to be what you need me to be. Like I was saying last time, you're not fucking coming here to watch me roll over and show my belly and, let people walk all over me. That's not why you're here. You could fucking watch that anywhere. You can fucking watch your dad talk to your mom if you want to look at a doormat. That's not what today is all about. I don't know exactly how this conversation is going to go. I don't know. Is it gaslighting to not gaslight somebody who thinks you're going to gaslight them? Well, now we're in a conundrum. Now we're in a conundrum, huh? Now we're in a conundrum. I love the concept of gaslighting. Some people say that it has to be intentional. That's not actually true. You could be gaslighting somebody on someone else's behalf. You could watch fake news. You could watch Tucker Carlson say something insane and retarded and just makes it up. And then you go and you believe it, and you go to Thanksgiving and then you tell everybody they don't know what they're talking about, and you present those alternative facts to everything. And you're not intending to gaslight them. Somebody is, but it's not you. You're just a pawn. They're being gaslit. You're just the third point in the triangulation of the gaslighting. Anyway. Oh yeah. And someone was like in my chat, how do we convince Smeth he's gaslighting himself? That's called gaslighting. That's what it is. So, this is the real stream. I fucking started early. I told you a fucking story. I told you a story about my dog, my mom and her dog. And how I helped her. I brought the dog with her and my grandma to get it evaluated by a professional trainer. And the trainer diagnosed the dog as completely fucked in the head with a debilitating anxiety disorder that is going to one day blow up in our faces. And I mean, my mom and my grandma raised this dog. And I look at the dog and I look at it and I'm like, Rosie, I get it. I understand. You and me, Rosie. We've both been through it. I'm my mom's dog. That blew up in her face like a faulty power bank. Now that battery acid is fucking trickling down into the sewer, and it's gonna come out in Whick's water faucet in the form of this conversation. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, get Smethed on. Better start to the stream, huh? Guys, he's talking crazy again. Yeah. I've got fucked up teeth too. People talk trash about Whick, but I've got fucked up teeth too. I decided long ago that I wouldn't fix my teeth. I got braces, and they made my teeth worse because I didn't wear my retainer, and I didn't know you have to wear your retainer forever, always, for the rest of your life. What kind of fucking solution is that? It sucks. So eventually, like, I would not wear it, and then it would hurt so much when I'd wear it again, and then I would wear it again for a while, and it would kind of go back into place, and then I wouldn't wear it, and then eventually my bottom teeth, they got so fucked up. The two front ones, they're pushed back, and the retainer stopped working, and I was like, fuck it. And I went to the dentist, and I told her about how I didn't wear my retainer. And she was like, oh, that's bad. How could you do that? Like, you know, and I'm like, yeah, bitch, stop, shut the fuck up. These are my teeth. I'm going to have to live with them. Okay? Unless you want to pay for my surgery, but I don't care. And I feel I'm a sexy dude. I don't need to fix my teeth. My teeth... If you want this package that comes with my fucking teeth, yeah. And they work just fine. They're not really that bad. So, I told her, these are my teeth, and like, you shaming me about it isn't gonna do any, like, I don't get it. So, and then she like looked at me, she's like, oh shit, why was I doing that? Yeah, me and Whick. Smeth and Whick. Fucked up teeth. Except I don't want to fucking fix them.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yo! Hey, I didn't even know I was still in the waiting room.
We're not live or anything, by the way.
I am live. I am
testing
live.
your cam again.
All right, I can turn my camera on. Here you go.
You know,
What's up?
doing all those things.
I was just
ready for the show.
Okay, I am live, but just so you know, but I was just telling my chat that I have fucked up teeth, and people shit on you and dog on you for having fucked up teeth. I also have fucked up teeth.
Well,
but my attitude.
they'll find something to attack you for, right? Like
Sure.
they want to attack you. What the thing is doesn't matter, right?
Well, I think they know that you're insecure about your teeth.
I am. I used to have very good teeth. Very nice teeth. I was proud of my smile. I like to smile, but luckily I have a dentist appointment on the 29th. I had one earlier this month or last month, the end of last month, I should say. They pushed it off till the 29th, so hopefully that's the date, gang. Mark your calendars, but we'll see.
I cannot wait, Whick.
Me too. I wanna be able to smile again, full teeth, a toothy smile.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me do my announcements. Push the buttons. Also, I guess I'm a phenotype of a naphoid. Do you know what a naphoid is?
No, I do not. What is it?
So it's people who are pretty pro NATO, pro Ukraine, pro all that. This black Red Guard guy is posting my picture online, trying to, I don't know, make fun of me, I guess. But I posted that picture myself. It's my profile picture. I'm not sad about that picture. It's a good picture of me. Anyway, let me do this real quick. Push the button.
You're a very weird dude. You're definitely a very weird dude.
I don't disagree, but weird in what way? You got to be more specific.
Especially in this space too. I don't know. Like a bunch of different things. You have like a high pitched voice kind of, and so I think that makes people
a little nasally.
Yeah, and but also mainly I think there's a couple things. But mainly I think it comes down to your Mormon background. It definitely makes you very weird. I think that is a big part of it.
It's funny because even in Mormon culture, I was the odd one out because I wasn't a Utah Mormon. I grew up in a military family, so we lived all over. Very different, right? Give me a second. People are wanting me to link your article in chat. I'll do that now. Again, I'm on my starting soon, so they can't see us on my end. But let me do that. Boom. And once I go live on YouTube, I'll link it there as well. I'm saving my questions about the article though till we go live though, because I do have questions, but I'm very curious. But yeah, like I said,
very curious.
I am. I read the article. So first of all, I guess while we're not live on my end, I'll just point out a couple things. I think you have a few typos in there.
Oh, really?
So at the end, and maybe this was on purpose, you ended with "I'm becoming Seth," not Smeth. Seth.
Yeah, no, Seth. Yeah, that was intentional. Yeah,
okay.
Well, I would have said Seth is the it's Mr. Girl and then Max Karson his name, and it's Smeth and it's Seth. So
okay, I didn't know that was your actual name. I was like, oh, did he just miss a letter? But fair enough. If that was intentional, fair enough. There was another portion where you didn't capitalize at the beginning of the thing, but I'll find the relative section because it stood out. So when you say Max is a science expert of his narcissistic father,
science experiment.
The science experiment. So it looks like because the space is there, like I understand that your punctuation is a semicolon and thing, so it's not an actual new sentence, but because of the way it's spaced and the way it's formatted, it absolutely looks like one.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't look right. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. I actually Googled and figured out it. Like semicolon, you're supposed to not use capital.
Yes, but like I said, because of the format.
Yeah, I also have some dwarf words, but I don't really care about that.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
I just was like I said, I've done writing myself, and it's one of those things where I've gone over my own work and other people's work on occasion, and so I just noticed the little things, presentation-wise, otherwise. But yeah, those are just the little
okay.
things.
I watched Will in his channel. I watched his video on the progressive victory thing.
Yeah.
And there's a part in it where you're talking, and it looks like you're about to make a rape joke. I forget what it was that you said, but it looked like you were about to make a rape joke and then stopped yourself because you're like, oh shit, like, I'm representing some people or something. I can't just be making rape jokes willy-nilly. But
I don't actually remember. It's very possible, right? Like,
yeah, you should have just made it. It would have
but
been funny.
It's also something where sometimes it's funnier to allude to it than actually say it, right? Like, it's what's
Watermelon
the space
Twitter
that is left unsaid, right? Okay, that wasn't intentionally. It was unintentionally funny because I didn't mean that at all, but it ended up. So, but yeah. Anyway, give me 1 second, please.
You're frozen on my screen right now. On my
Hello.
I can hear you, but your camera's frozen.
Really? Yours is working. Mine's working on my end. I'm seeing greens across the board. Says I have a good connection.
Let me try this. Oh shit! No, Discord's just fucking up.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, I might have to call back.
That's exit out and come back in. Yeah, that's fine.
Fuck.
You haven't actually exited, by the way.
I know. I'm having trouble doing that. Got to get my task manager. Like, it's completely frozen. So there. Well, that's annoying. Okay, let's open it up again.
Okay.
All right. It should be working now. Yeah.
Awesome. So, unless you had any specific idea for a format, what I was going to do was simply introduce it, kind of give my initial thoughts on it, and then maybe start by asking you questions about it. And then we can kind of discuss it from there. Unless you wanted a different way to go about it, and then I'm
go. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, your camera's not on though. Once you turn that on,
yeah.
Start it up. So
now I'm here.
Okay. Now let me click the buttons and we'll go live. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, one and all, welcome to yet another episode of WhickTV, a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. I'm not actually sure what to classify today's show as. Is it political? Is it cultural? Is it silly? Is it serious? Honestly, it's kind of a mixed bag. I guess we'll get into it as we go, but today, as those of you who have seen my show before can attest, we'll be talking to the RealSmeth, okay? He has graciously agreed to come on my show and to talk about an article he recently wrote on Substack titled Becoming Max. The title's kind of a hint to what this article is about, okay?
The subtitle is The Assassination of Max Karson by the Coward Smeth.
That is a reference to a movie which is, again, referenced in the article itself, but we'll get there. I guess, though, my first question to you is, what would you tell people the article's about?
It's about me, and it is about Max.
That's a very broad discussion. Certainly it's about more than that, though. I read the article. I've read it a couple times now. I'm torn on it, to be honest with you. I don't know if I like it or not. I think it's... and I'll just be straight up with you. I'm worried about you, buddy. The parasociality level, it's a lot.
Perfect.
Do you disagree?
Yeah.
Elaborate.
What do you mean? What am I supposed to... I just... what, you mean defend myself?
Not defend yourself, but if you think I'm wrong, that this isn't a level of parasociality that is worthy of having people worry about it, why is it not?
Well,
why am I incorrect?
You're allowed to worry about it, but...
Sure.
But
why is it foolish for me to do so, I guess?
Well, I don't know if it's like foolish, but I mean, I don't want... It's not not my goal to like make sure nobody worries about me.
Okay.
If you're worried about me, that's interesting.
What is your goal with the article? Why did you decide to write this?
Why did I decide to write it? I was doing a stream where I was announcing some future projects, and somebody suggested you should write a paper called Becoming Max or something like that. They said Becoming Max. I don't know if they said paper. And I was like, that sounds provocative. So I wrote that down, and then I started writing, and then it ended up, I was like, this isn't really provocative or going deep enough. And so I kept writing, and I kept soul searching, and I started asking Max personal questions about his psychology, and I started asking Shaylin about him a little bit. And yeah, I would say writing it was quite a parasocial experience because I was just sitting there thinking about him, in a way that was like, because I was writing about him, about his psychology. So I really had to become him to write it. And then I realized that I was writing about myself too.
Interesting. I can't speak to your process, but as someone who read it, would you mind if I gave my, I guess, first blush on what I thought it was about? What I thought the kind of...
Of course. I mean,
reason...
If I minded, I wouldn't be here.
Sure, I like to check. But I guess, for me, it sounded like this article was more about you than anything else. It was more about your relationship, not only to Max, but the space. And you use Max as kind of a focal point, right? A center to tie things together, based not just with your experience with Max, but on how others have treated you because of that.
I don't know.
Others have interacted with you, I guess, maybe a better term.
That part's really a small part of it, but just my relationship to the space is another big part of it. Yeah. But I'm not...
So, no, you start this off, right? You start off the article, and you say that's a small bit, but it's small content-wise, but it seems to be the main thrust. Like, the opening statement that you have is, I'm often compared to Max Karson, Mr. Girl.
Sure.
Usually it's said dismissively, being compared to Max is a bad thing you should avoid. Yeah, here we are. The implication there, right? What this is introducing to the audience, to the reader, is that it's going to... Like, this is going to be driven on comparisons. It's going to be driven on this kind of how others and how yourself, as you get into in the article, see yourself, see Max, see the relationship. So I think again, it may not be content-wise the main thrust, but I think it's an inescapable part.
It's not about how people react to me. I'm just kind of establishing and defining my own narrative on my own terms, and I'm sharing what that is. So
maybe, perhaps. I mean, fair enough. I guess what
do you mean maybe perhaps?
Do you know what? Well, you should know. I won't insult your intelligence. Death of the author. Like we can write
Yes.
something intending it to be one way, but it ends up being greater than ourselves and becomes something else entirely.
Yes.
Right. So I think that, to some extent, this happens. Right. It's not just in writing, but it could be any kind of media thing. We put out a product, and that product is used by the audience, but it may be used in ways we don't intend it to be.
But that's not
and
what's
that means
actually
something.
happening here. That's not exact. So I think Death of the Author, in its purest sense, would be if you were to take this paper and you were to talk about it as if it was about Trump and Biden, or just any you're applying it in a totally different way from what I thought. If you're still analyzing me and you're still saying, well, I think something different about you than you think about yourself, considering what you've written, it's not really Death of the Author. I'm still part of it. You're still attributing it all to me. It's just that you disagree with me about myself, which is completely fine. But in that case, just say what you think.
I'm trying to. I'm trying. What I guess. Let me tell you what I wanted to talk about. Right. I think there are a few themes that you bring up which are worth discussing. I think parasociality is a big one, and I think the act of you writing this is, I guess, a good way to talk about it, right? Because there are some great things, and like honestly, I liked it mostly, right? Like I thought it was well written. A little pretentious at parts, but you know.
Especially the beginning.
With the pretension part?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just
I
a
think
little.
so.
But that's okay. Like, it's okay to be a little pretentious. You are, if you're not your own best advocate, no one else will be.
Art critic writing kind of thing, so it was going to have to be a little bit pretentious.
And, I'm sorry, I'm reading chat comments. So, the People's Elbow says, I can't understand what motivates people to write these sophomoric manifestos, lengthy narratives, etc. about themselves. Interestingly, seems to be a behavioral tick of the left. We're going to ignore that for a moment, but we will come back to it. But I guess
this is not a fucking. This is a personal, like. This is, I guess, if you say like a tick of the left is like going to therapy and having emotional awareness, and you know, I don't know, like what the fuck are you? Have you ever journaled a day in your life?
You're gonna have to discuss with People's Elbow about that. I think he's applying politics to the situation where I don't know if it needs to be applied. I guess I'll say this, right? Though, like, are you worried about how this will be taken by others, right?
No.
At least on some level.
No.
None at all. What about Max? Because you mentioned you were worried a little bit about how he would respond.
I was.
In the article, you detail how it kind of kept you up at night. I don't think those were the exact words you used, but that's the impression I got, that it tormented.
Well, I was worried that I might hurt him. Like, let's say that. So I'm writing about him in a deeply personal way. I diagnose him with a personality disorder, and if I am wrong, that means people understand him less than they already did, and maybe even he understands himself even less than he already did.
I guess this is more of a philosophical question, but if you're worried about how one of the subjects of your article will respond to it, how honest can that article be, right? Do you worry sometimes about the honesty inherent if you are concerned about how it's going to be received?
I wasn't, well, so I would say that by that metric, that you are an extremely dishonest person, because you're incredibly concerned with how you're perceived in your stream and all that, and the optics is way more important to your more important to your content than it is. The optics is obviously way less important to this article than to anything that I've seen you do. So by that standard, that I'm a way more honest person than you.
Well, that's fair. But at the same time, me writing something, right, and putting something out with my worldview, with my standards, is not the same as your standards, right? So how I would do a thing and how you would do a thing are different, and we should be judged on different metrics to an extent. But that's neither here nor there. We're not here to.
There is a
unless
level.
you want to, we can argue about how honest I am.
There's a level to which that we will always be confused when we're making art. We're making things for other people. The audience, it will confuse us. There is a level to that. My relationship to Max confuses me about understanding him to some degree, which is something that, especially if you're a victim of psychological abuse or something, that is even stronger. And that's part of what the article was about. I was trying to break from that kind of thing. And I asked him, and he told me that I'm not supposed to be where he wants me to just, like, whatever. His response was, "I am God," because that was basically him saying that you don't worry about that. And
is that what that means? Like, I'm not as familiar with Max as you, so I don't know his idiosyncrasies. But
yeah, that's
a lot of people saying "I am God." That's anime villain shit, right? But like, I don't know his idiosyncrasy, so yeah.
Well, his idiosyncrasy is supervillain shit.
Fair enough. One of the themes of your content, not just this piece, but your content in general, that I've always enjoyed, but it does make me wonder. You are, I guess, an artist. I guess that's a good word to apply to you, or someone who wants to be an artist, at least. It makes me wonder how much of what you say
I am an artist.
Fair enough. If you can convince other people you're an artist, you're an artist. I believe in that.
I don't go by that.
What do you go by? What is your definition of an artist? Just out of curiosity.
Someone that makes art.
But then that begs the question: what is art? Does art have to be intentional? Right? Am I an artist if I make a macaroni painting?
I'm
right?
not someone that gatekeeps art. My definition of art may be different than yours. And so let's say that your life revolves around doing something, but I don't call it art, but you call it art. So I'm like, oh, see, gotcha. Technically, you're not an artist because you're wrong. It's like, no, fuck that. That's just drivel.
You could be an artist, but also be wrong on what art is. I don't think that's a contradictory.
Art isn't. It is just a concept. So,
but I get we can have this discussion if you like, but I only bring this up in service to the point I'm trying to make, which is one of the things that I wonder about, and I wondered this about Max, I wonder this about you, I wonder this about artists in general, to be clear, is how much what they are saying or doing, and this applies to me too, because I'm a content creator and everyone should be suspect of what I say and do. Let's be clear. How much of what I'm saying and doing, or what you say and do, how much of that article is just to be provocative, as you said? Because you mentioned that, right? That you wanted it to be provocative.
I'm provocative.
That you wanted it to evoke emotions and things. So I wonder and I worry how much...
I'm provocative by being honest, and I'm provocative by being honest and being vulnerable, and that's what is provocative about it. If I wanted to be like earlier drafts of it, I was even more cruel and mean towards Max, and I edited that stuff out because it was just the cruelness took away from the actual meat of understanding his psychology. So it was distracting. So I could have been more provocative. I got criticism because people are like, "Oh, you hyped it up as if you're." I think it is kind of cruel to him, regardless. But I got from a couple people criticism because I was expecting you to totally tear him apart, and I mean,
it doesn't feel cruel. Like, again, from an outside perspective, I've never been in the Mr. Girl orbit. I talked to him a few times. We had our little spat, I guess you would call it. I didn't see. Again, the son looking up to the dad comparison is apt here. It feels like someone who is speaking about their idol. Okay, it didn't come across as cruel whatsoever.
I don't know.
I thought your? Yeah.
I thought it was well.
What did you think was cool about what you published? I'm curious.
I don't know. Like, there's some lines in there. Like, there's no amount of there's no limit to the amount of abuse that a black hole can take. There's just thrown in there just to be cruel. I don't know. Writing a paper diagnosing somebody with a personality disorder. Talking about how they are delusional and talking about the flaws of their psychology and like documenting it. It seems a cruel thing to do. And it was even more cruel by my phrasing and by the verbiage I was using before.
So if I were to say, so is it simply the diagnosing? And you don't really diagnose him in it. You just say, if you were forced to, then you would call him, I think it was a quiet BPD or something.
No, absolutely not. Quiet PPD is different. Covert PPD.
Oh, covert PPD. Sorry. Apologies.
It's yeah.
But again, you preface this, and let me quote the article so I don't mess it up again. Hold on. I have here, or I had. If you begged me to armchair diagnose him, I would throw up my arms and say covert borderline personality disorder. Mm-hmm. That's not really diagnosing him. That's simply kind of trying to, and you do it for the purpose, at least it seems to me, for the purpose of helping people to understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, I'm not a professional, but I mean,
sure, but it doesn't feel like diagnosing is what I'm saying.
I'm saying I think he has this personality disorder.
Okay. Oh, let me link people are asking in the YouTube chat, sorry. Let me link the article so that they can look at it at their own time. And I recommend you guys read this, actually. Even just to kind of understand how these spaces work. It's interesting from the perspective of, if I was new to this space, okay, and I wanted to know what an orbiter was and what parasociality was, I think this would be a good read. There's video examples I could use.
Okay. What the fuck are you talking about? Explain why your read of this is about parasociality. Can you fucking, instead of implying and alluding, can you tell me what your
Okay, I'll try to be more direct.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so if a parasocial relationship is a relationship you have where you use there's personal connections, deep personal connections to someone you see on a screen. Maybe you call in every once in a while. Maybe you interact with him. Maybe you guys hang out in real life. I don't know. But as far as I know your relationship, and I could be very wrong, maybe I'm off the mark here, but you are someone he interacts with on stream, someone he interacts with maybe in DMs and things like that. Have you guys met and broken bread?
No.
Then it's to some extent parasocial. And when you write a whole article about your parasocial daddy...
Okay, so you're saying there's something else that's parasocial, and you're now analyzing my paper in the context of something else, but has nothing to do with what I wrote in the paper.
What do you think parasociality is?
Parasociality is a relationship that goes one way. So let's say that I have a relationship with so the most parasocial possible relationship is a relationship with someone that doesn't know you exist. And that's not what I have with Max whatsoever. In fact, he knows pretty much everything I think about him. I know very little about what he thinks about me, and that's by the definition, and that's by the way that he's given. He thinks that it will hurt me if he does that. He thinks he has power over my content, thinks he has power over me psychologically, so he refuses to evaluate me or tell me what he thinks about me. So his relationship with me is actually more parasocial, because he's not allowed, by his own standards, not allowed to engage with me socially, but I'm allowed to engage with him socially.
Because he recognizes the parasocialness of your relationship.
No, but
that's why he sets these boundaries.
When you say parasocial, you're really just saying I look up to him, and you're using the words parasocial to act as if it's a bad thing, or it's because you're scary, or because as if it's scary. But you're really just saying Smeth looks up to Mr. Girl, and that's not fucking parasocial. I just laid it out. Parasocial means a one-way.
Laid out exactly why it's parasocial.
Parasocial. No, I did not. Parasocial. This is a good. I'm glad that I. Okay, this is parasocial is a one-way relationship. I don't have a one-way relationship with him. I have a relationship where there are boundaries in place, and the boundaries in place make it so that his relationship with me is one way, but my relationship with him is not one way.
Okay.
Is a parent's relationship with their if I look up to my parent, do I have a parasocial? I could have written this paper about an actual parent of mine. Would you still almost word by word you could still apply it? So would you still? So would you? So yeah. So the parasociality has nothing to do with what's in it. You're just saying that you believe
if
that.
You write about
you're saying that you believe that my relationship with Max is parasocial. And
Max believes it too.
So
based on what you said, Max also believes that.
Based on what I said, so you keep saying
based on
bullshit
the fact that he has set
that.
boundaries because he feels he has power over you that you do not have over with him in a way that doesn't only exist online, but primarily exists in these social
him
spaces.
having boundaries
the
with
reason
me.
He sets these boundaries, and he probably doesn't do it with just you. He probably does it with Drazi. He probably does it with a lot of these people, is because he recognizes that there is a parasocial relationship that exists and that it has certain dangers inherent with it.
Saying you keep tautologically circling back to saying he realizes a parasocial, but you're not ever pointing out the specifics. A parent has boundaries with their kid. Okay, it's the same a parent a parent is not gonna. So your kid, let's say that you're a ballerina and you show your dad. Your dad might think, oh, she fucking sucks at this. This is the 5th macaroni drawing and they're getting worse. This kid is not. Their parent's not gonna tell you any of that shit. Your parent's job is to protect you from themselves. So the shit you're saying actually doesn't make any fucking sense for the point that you're making. The point you're making, it relies on your belief that my relationship with is parasocial, and really I've already completely laid it out. I think when you say parasocial, you mean that I look up to him.
It goes beyond simply looking up. You are connected to him in a sense of
makes it less parasocial.
Yeah, parasociality is a spectrum, gang. If we're going to use a Marxism, right? There's a spectrum of parasociality.
Right.
There are. Do you not recognize that there are parasocial aspects? So if you don't want to call it parasocial, that's fine.
Yes, I recognize
that. You recognize there are parasocial aspects to your relationship with Max Karson.
But when you talk about it, when I press you, you'll say it's a spectrum, and then as soon as I stop pressing you, you'll revert back to not talking about it like it's a spectrum. And if you're talking about it as a spectrum, then Max has a more parasocial relationship with me. Because parasociality is a one-way relationship. My relationship with him is way less one way than his relationship with me.
I'm trying to communicate properly with you. And
in order
to communicate properly,
make me agree with you.
No, it's so we have a shared understanding of what's being discussed, so we don't have an argument every time I use the word parasocial.
Shared understanding, make me agree. Tomato, tomato.
I will agree with you. Okay, this isn't parasociality, but it's weird. Can I use the term weird? It's a weird relationship.
I don't like that either, but I mean,
why? Okay,
because you just mean parasocial.
I mean, no, I'm only saying parasocial because I mean there is a connection that you two have that is one-sided, that has different rules. It exists primarily online,
A
right?
parasocial
And
relationship doesn't have one person like with rules and boundaries, and like you can DM them and ask them personal questions about themselves and shit like that.
Oh, that was kind of like look, the parasociality is, this is a reason that OnlyFans girls have it so you can DM them and have private sessions with them, is to increase the level of
So you think that Max
parasociality.
wants to increase my he wants to make me
I don't know
look
if he
up,
wants to or not. I'm not.
he wants me
That's beyond the scope of what I'm talking about.
but you just made the comparison. So if you're comparing my relationship to him as like, it's basically you're comparing my relationship to him as a relationship with the OnlyFans model. So it's as if he wants to farm me to make me look up to him more. Because he wants to get whatever benefit that he has out of me, whatever, obsessing over him.
You were putting a lot in there that I did not.
Well, you're the
say.
one that made the fucking comparison.
Yes, in order to help you understand what I mean when I say the word parasociality.
Well, I mean, I just explained. I helped you understand that your comparison is dog shit. So now I guess we're on the same page.
Okay, it's why the reason when you say, "Oh, do parasocial relationships have where I can DM them, ask them private questions anytime?" My counter was to compare it to OnlyFans girls who do the same thing, but also point out that that is parasociality as well. So that is no defense.
Yeah, because the difference is the OnlyFans girls are manipulating the people into being obsessed with them. So they are allowing, because your relationship with an OnlyFans model is way less parasocial than your relationship with a random porn star that you never message. Because you actually are talking to them. But the difference is No, it's not the opposite. The person, you don't understand what parasocial, like, hey, then I guess it's understood. You don't understand like whatsoever what parasociality is. You're to a porn star that you've never messaged, just a random image, that your relationship with that porn star is way more parasocial because it's a one-way relationship. Let's say it's a porn star that you keep coming back to. You have like a fantasy, like when you like imagine yourself fucking them or whatever the fuck. Imagine a scenario in your head. Your relationship with, when you start messaging them, it becomes less parasocial. But the difference between the OnlyFans model that's getting messages from the person jerking off to them and my relationship with Max is the OnlyFans model is allowing that to manipulate the person, and Max is not allowing that to manipulate me.
How would you describe your relationship, Mr.
I would
what
say
word
that
would you use? Term.
I would say that mentor, mentee, or fatherly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Are you at all concerned that? Well, no, I won't ask that. In what ways do you think of Mr. Girl as a father figure?
In what ways?
Yeah, why do you consider him a father figure?
Well, it's basically the position he's put himself in. That's why. It's not like I felt like that just like watching his content or anything. It's that he's put himself in a position where he is taking responsibility for me in a way that he's not allowing me to take responsibility for him, and he's setting boundaries on my behalf to protect me. So it's a fatherly type relationship.
That isn't helping your case.
Why? What do you mean? What case am I trying to make? I'm not
he
defending.
Is making himself into your dad?
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah.
Hold on. Do you not see a problem with this?
No.
If I wanted to, like, if I had one of my viewers out there, okay, one of my many fans, and I was like, you know what?
So you're going to make a grooming comparison. I'm
going to be your father figure, okay? I think that's at the very least weird.
Well, that's a
odd.
dumb, retarded, asinine comparison, because it's not the case. I started making content and I came from his channel. I branched off from there, and like the whole orbiter thing. Like my content is linked to his in a way, and especially as I laid out in the paper, there was reasons for that. The reason I started making content is because he was making a space for the type of content that I wanted to be making. So.
Hold on. No, chat. You cannot call me dad. Stop it. Okay. Carry on.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not just like a random viewer that he decided to like groom. It's not. That's just completely different.
I'm not saying he's trying to groom you, right? Like, again, you keep sneaking in these accusations. And
I'm not sneaking them in. You're the one sneaking in the implications, and I'm pointing them out, and then you're telling me that I'm being sneaky by pointing them out.
You're not being sneaky. You're sneaking things in. It's a different thing. But
perfect example of what I just said. Like you saying I'm sneaking things in. If I tell you that you're calling me sneaky, you're like, oh, how could you ever think that I'm calling you sneaky? I'm just saying you're sneaking things in.
Well, let me ask then, what is the worst thing that Max does when it comes to you? What's the best thing and what's the worst thing? What is your favorite thing about the relationship? What is your least favorite thing about the relationship? Let's try that. Let's try this direction. I don't want this to end in a fight. I want this to be fun.
I'm happy fighting. I will still be there for you, no matter how. I will be there for you when you need me to whore myself out on your panel or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I'm not asking. I'm asking to conversate with you. I don't want to make you a whore.
Yeah, no, you're a digital pimp. You get
Okay.
So my least favorite thing is that, well, his boundaries he sets on my behalf for me. He refuses to have conversations with me that he thinks are bad for me or bad for our relationship that put me on an equal level to him. He refuses to have those because he thinks it would be bad for me, because that's basically what Destiny did to him, and it ignores the fact that there is a power differential, and it puts me in a position where I'm in danger psychologically, with my platform, like all these things. But so that's good, and I appreciate that. But also, there might be something that I really want to talk to him about that he's like, we can't have that conversation. And
what have you wanted to ask him about that he's not allowed you? What conversation have you wanted to have with him that he said no to?
I don't think I want to say that. I might be talking to him tomorrow on his hotline about one such thing, but I want to have that conversation with him.
I understand. I'm not Max. I get it.
But it's just like you're just gonna dissect it and pick it apart and try to like frame me in some fucking way.
Understand it, not to frame it in a certain way. To understand it. I think this is a similar issue happened when I talked to Max about not the Mr. Girl report, the Destiny report. I'm sorry. Is he kept saying I was trying to frame things a certain way. I am asking these questions to understand it for myself, and hopefully my audience can understand it too. And maybe this is a vain way to look at it, but I look at these things as if I'm picking up what you're putting down, my audience probably is as well. And if I'm confused, my audience probably is as well. So the reason I'm asking these questions is not to frame them in any specific way.
I think let me help frame this conversation in first place. So you're saying that in an underlying basically all your questioning, early on you said that you are worried about me, and that is the through line through most of this questioning. And most of this questioning is not to actually alleviate your concern or any such thing. You want to basically pull out of me that, there is something that I should be concerned about. So you're really not asking me questions to actually get. It's not like you don't understand me and you want to get a better understanding. It's that you have an understanding that you've come to me with, and you're asking me questions to convince me of it instead of just telling me it. And then, because if you just tell me, I can just disagree, and then it'll be the end of the conversation.
We can talk about so much, okay? We don't have to have this conversation on these disagreements. Like, we don't have to draw this out, right? And again, like, this isn't something where look, Smeth, I don't understand why you do certain things. I don't understand you, right? There are certain things I think I understand. I have hypotheses, okay? And I tell you those my hypotheses. But it's very possible, and in fact, probably likely in some cases, that I'm wrong on these. And the reason we talk and the reason we fight, so to speak, is I put forth my hypotheses, you challenge it, and in that interaction, we can discover truth. It is an alchemical formula in which we brew our differing points of view, stir them and mix them up, and maybe just get closer to some form of mutual understanding and mutual communication.
Is what a conversation is.
Well, no shit. That's why we're having one.
Well, thank you for telling me what a fucking conversation is. Just so that I'm clear, that because I was criticizing you, so you're like no, and then you basically go through, this is what a conversation is, and that's what's happening here. You mean you're telling me something different than what I told you?
So one of the reasons I'm worried about you,
Okay.
if you want to get to that portion of this, we can. When you say things like Max is here to set out the boundaries because he feels I can never be his equal.
That's not
this
what I
kind
said.
of.
That's not what I said.
Can you frame it then for me? Maybe
He feels that I am not his equal because of the power differential.
Fair enough. That doesn't change my worry though. Like this idea that he knows that you are unequal. Well, first of all, I don't believe you guys are unequal. I don't think I'm better or have power over my audience to any significant degree, right? I don't have power over the people who watch me to a significant degree. Do I have influence over them? Absolutely, but that's a much different thing. Now, I think that Max has influence over you, but you have to choose to engage with that influence. I think you do. I think you swallow it whole.
Well, like at this point in my streaming, I have quite a decent amount of my audience is not his audience, but I would say maybe like 20%, maybe 20% to 50%, but somewhere in there is also his audience. I think probably less than, it's probably like 20 to 30%. And if he were to just like say like Smeth is crazy, fuck Smeth or whatever, then I would lose that 20 to 30%. So that's true. He's just and more than that, like more than the 20 to 30%. Some of them, my own fans might just change their opinion of me. He has a much bigger brand and a much bigger presence, and what he says about me, what I say about him has way less influence or impact on him than what he says about me. In some ways, I think I might have a lot of influence about what people think about him too, but
you
also
mentioned that in the article. You mentioned that like you take from each other. Like you talked about derivation, imitation, these kinds of concepts. You talk about how he, what is the example you use? Can you remind me? But there's an example of you used where he basically cribbed on a take that you gave on his show, on his channel. Do you recall what I'm talking about?
Oh no, I was just, it wasn't a take. I was just saying my video about narcissistic abuse. And the reason I'm aware of that is because I'm pretty sure he's familiar, and he's used the word narcissistic to describe things, but he used to have the staunch position that if anybody brought up personality disorders, he would just say that personality disorders are not real, and it's just if you are an asshole and that doesn't like that people don't like your personality, then we're going to diagnose you with a personality disorder because you just don't fit in. But there could be another society where everybody is this asshole, and then it wouldn't be a personality disorder. And so that's kind of the kind of thing that he's said. But I, in my video, talked about narcissistic abuse, and I made it clear that I don't believe that it is a real thing, but it's a mode of analysis to talk about certain types of behavior and certain types of abuse. And since then, he's been using the word narcissistic a lot.
You influenced him in that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's fair, right? Like, I'm sure if you dug and if you thought about it, you could probably name more instances. That's just how interaction works.
That one's a big one. There are like tiny small times when I see it happening where I will say something and then I'll see him saying something that looks like what I said, and I never know because so I sometimes have asked him, did you get that from when I talked about this? He was talking about how he believes that your ability to emotionally regulate is highly correlated to your intelligence. And I had just had a conversation with somebody named Drew, and I was saying that weed might make you smarter in some ways in the moment because it helps you emotionally regulate, and you're tackling an issue from like a different place, but it makes you dumber overall. But it makes have in short term make you have smarter outcomes in short term. And he had the same idea, and I asked him if it was related to what I said, and he said no. So I never really know. I think we are very similar. And
do you guys? How often? Do you mind me asking? How often do you guys interact?
I don't know.
Talking I'm asking this because one of my chats asking this. Someone in my chat asked it, and it's a good question. How often do they talk to each other? And I'm curious.
I DM him once every 2 weeks. Sometimes more.
So not a lot.
Well, sometimes more. Like when I was writing the paper, it was a bit more. And yeah.
Fair enough. Do you think that you rely on your connection with Max for your brand specifically? Like, again, you wrote this article would be my evidence that you were using it to kind of sell a perception.
Well, his brand is similar to my brand, and that's why I have linked myself to him. There's not really much it's my job to grow a platform and grow a space on the internet that is the way I want. I have to fucking tend this garden. I have to turn you into a Smeth. I need to Smethify you. I need to make sure that there's Smeth on.
What does that mean?
There needs to be a Smeth dealer on every single corner on YouTube. Okay, but he already is huffing the Smeth. And by what I'm like, he's just like that type of thinking. He's psychoanalytical, very empathetic type thinker and content, and also is making a lot of space for himself. There's a lot of aggression sometimes in his content. These are the types of things that I like. And I lost the train of thought. So my brand is attached to his brand. But I don't. I think that I don't need to. Most of my content isn't about him. It's funny. Elder Drazi, most of his content is actually about Max, but people don't make the same comments about him. It's because when I do talk about Max, it provokes people. But most of my content really isn't about him. I'm just talking about what I think about things. It really isn't about him.
I'll to your credit, and to kind of back you up here, most of the time I have you on my show, we're not talking about Max at all. Right? We're just talking about a topic. So fair enough. But we are talking today about your article, right? That's the reason we're having this conversation. And that is all about Max, right? And so I don't know if...
It's not all about... It's mostly... You even said to yourself, it's mostly about me.
No, that's true. I'll rephrase. I guess the through line of the article is Max. You use
the through line is actually me. Max is just the.
You use him as a touchstone throughout. a touchstone is someone like something you can keep coming back to you. Like that, he is the pole, the North Pole.
Yeah,
right.
like I
and
said,
everything's
it's about
revolving around that. That's
no,
you are
I wouldn't
navigating,
say
and
that.
he is the guiding
No,
star.
I would say that my original description, it's about me and it's about Max. So we're both equally through lines in it, but I think it's more about me than it is about him.
Perhaps. I think it's about your relationship with each other.
No,
yes,
it's not really about our relationship. It's more so about just our psychologies. It's not really about our. I've written about our relationship before, but this was different.
Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't read that. Are you going to publish something like that?
No, this was on
Reddit.
This was on Reddit.
Because this looks. Of course, it would be on Reddit. This looks like this does look like, again, you're gonna hate that I'm gonna use this word.
Parasocial.
It is, yeah.
Parasocial.
It's why it comes across parasocial, because it comes across, whether you intended it to or not, as if you're using your journey, your discovery things, but you are tying it to Max in such a way that it is about your relationship.
I literally said that like the very best way to describe my relationship with him is he is like my mentor. And so how is that it not appropriate, like consider all things considered?
I'm not saying this is inappropriate
so,
to do.
But like a relationship somebody has with their mentor isn't parasocial.
It can be.
But why does it make fucking sense?
It can be.
Like, I don't understand why that is a useful way to talk about it.
Well, the reason that it's useful in this space is because people understand what parasociality is to an extent.
They don't understand the thing. Yeah, that's the problem I have, is that people understand parasociality as this bad thing, and you're using it to describe something that isn't a bad thing in the same sense.
Parasociality isn't always bad.
I know, but but I'm saying that the way people understand parasociality is bad. Everybody is terrified of being parasocially obsessed with all the people that they're parasocially obsessed with, and so like everyone in your like audience, everyone watching these fucking streams is paranoid. They're all paranoid about being this parasocial maniac, and here I am putting this like this weird complicated relationship in front of you, and you're like it makes me feel successful as an artist that all these people are like parasocial. It's because that's the most concerned thing that they have within themselves. So it really it allowed people to learn about themselves by looking at it, and whatever. So just like I learned about myself by looking at Max, you can learn about yourself by looking at me. And maybe that's why like my analysis of him is so tainted, because it's going through my brain, and a lot of it is about me.
Do you think people should have the same relationship you do with Max with you? Who would you consider your Smeth?
Drew.
Tell me about him.
Except I'm still very small, but he comes to me for like mentorship about art, and I encouraged him to start making art because he's a Smash player, and he's got a lot of problems with how the Smash community is run. People get banned for it's like the worst of like the dogmatic Twitter bullshit, SJW bullshit type thing, and people just get banned just for having an opinion that people don't like, and they just can't play Smash anymore, and it's a big part of his life, and he wanted to make some art about it, and I convinced him that it was art that he wanted to do, and now he comes to me for advice about it. Have
you set the same or similar boundaries that Max has set with you with him?
Not really.
Why not?
Because there was no prior relationship. We engaged kind of as mutuals, and I don't know. I just don't have power over him. No, like if I say that Drew's a moron, it will really affect nothing in his life. It'll just hurt him emotionally. So that really
might help him actually, right? Like there's a negative polarization that happens sometimes. Like if there's people I know that if they view you positively, I'm immediately suspect of someone, right? And that's not healthy, right? That's maybe not fair, but it just is.
I don't know, whatever the fuck you just said, but I'm just saying that he's just I don't have power over him.
I don't think that Max has power over you either. Not in the same way, or at least if he does, it's.
Well, I do have. I think I do have
right?
power over Drew a bit psychologically, but I look up to him too, and yeah, I'm not in a position to have that kind of power of somebody right now. Yeah, actually, so I have fans that look up to me very much. So the closest to the mentor-y type thing is Drew. I have fans that look up to me very much, and I have way more boundaries with them. So
interesting. What are some, like, just out of curiosity? What are some like? Do you want me to?
I'm
curious if we want to compare boundaries, because I do have boundaries.
I very rarely even chat in my Discord with people. I have an inbox, and people can message me in there, and I'll post like links to like videos that I think are interesting, but I won't like I won't engage like I'm one of the guys with everybody in there, because yeah, and so I have and some people that I've known since like when I first started streaming, sometimes I'll have conversations with them, but most people no.
I understand that this is the way a lot of people do it and there's pretty good reasons, but I don't know if that's the healthiest. I worry about the separation. I worry that these kinds of putting ourselves on a different level is harmful to the internet. I think it ironically encourages a connection and them to view us in a certain way that I don't think we are as content creators, right? I don't think that we are naturally these leaders, mentors, etc.
I'm a natural leader. I don't know about you, but I am a natural leader.
I'm talking about
I am God.
There's imitation, and then there's derivation, and then there's just plagiarism, okay? And you using that term, a very Maxism, I wonder if you've maybe crossed that line. $5 from Origin of Logos to say, Whick, I told you not to talk with this lunatic, LOL. No one tells me who to talk to and who not to talk to, first of all. Second of all, I talk to him because I, believe it or not, like Smeth. And I'm curious about what
I'll bring it. He knows that when he knows that I'm gonna freak out, and I'm gonna come on his stream, and people are gonna be so on the edge of their seat that they're gonna have no choice but to fucking super chat you just so that they can be part of the conversation because they want in that bad.
I don't know about that, but thank you for the $5, and I do appreciate you coming on. That is another issue I had with the article. I don't know if you understand the difference. When someone says steal like an artist, there's a very specific meaning they have, and it's the quotes you used are good quotes. I think the concept is correct, but there are ways you can apply that concept which are simply plagiarism, which is simply that's not what they actually meant. I'm trying to describe this without using.
So like you just said that me making a joke.
The I am God reference.
Yeah, that's plagiarism. Like even though I'm referencing what, like, and that's the joke. That's why I said it.
Fair enough. It's funny humor. They don't always translate to me.
Like,
I don't know why.
People, like I got because of the portrait that I commissioned Shaylin to do. It's like, well, if you think that you're an individual, why would you commission her to make that portrait? I don't know. It's self-deprecating. It's interesting. And me, like I was saying, me becoming myself makes me act more like Max because I'm breaking myself of these when I start making space for myself and if I allow myself to be more emotional, then because I think I have some similarities in my childhood and the way that my childhood has molded my personality into a fucked up one, then that's what I'm seeing happening.
I worry. Okay, I know this is going to be a theme, but I'll say it again. I worry about how much you look up to Max. I think that you imitate him, and that's not necessarily bad.
Wow.
I'll say this: Max is a great artist. Max is a great artist. I think you're a good artist too.
Fuck you.
However, I think that he isn't a good person. He's a great artist, but not a good person.
Of course you would say that.
You are.
That's because I'm nicer to you than he is.
Person.
That's because I'm nicer to you than he is.
Max was nice enough.
Not really. Not really. No way. No, he was not nice to you.
He's not nice anymore, obviously.
He was absolutely not nice to you.
He was.
So I just got $5. Someone said, Smeth, I told you not to talk to this lunatic. LOL. I'm sorry. I talk to whoever the fuck I want to talk to. Okay.
No,
I know that talking to Whick will bring. He will bring that. He will. If you want to light a candle, you got a wick. All right, it's one of the ingredients for light.
Just don't light me on fire, please.
See what I can do.
Let me say this. I like Elder Drazi. I like Smeth. I'm mostly like Kilo. Those are the 3 orbiters, quote unquote, that I know of Mr. Girl. There are probably more that I'm unaware of, but these are the ones I've interacted with on a semi-regular basis. I think that you have adopted a lot of his mannerisms, just the way we talk, just the way you converse with me right now. You can see a lot of them. In fact,
it's really not.
There were a lot of.
It's just the thing that I have adopted the most. Adopted really is just paying attention to what is happening. So I'll tell you exactly what's going through my head with the adopting the things, and it's totally different from like adopting mannerisms. It's an outlook, and it's an outlook that is specifically helpful for me because I can relate to him in that, like, so I have to make space for myself or else I disappear. And the mannerism is really just paying attention to what's happening in the conversation, because I have the skills to map it out like he does, except I was taught to silence those and to keep it to myself and to use that analysis to tiptoe around everybody else's feelings. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships, very bad horsey. I'm gonna ride these 5 bad horsies into this battle. Okay, so I'm tiptoeing around. Are we usually battling
right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I typically, in the way I learned, the way I got these skills is the same way Max got these skills. It's tiptoeing around other people and trying to protect them and try to do whatever I can to make sure that they stay emotionally regulated and that they, so that I can be safe. And now I have that built up skill set, and if I make space for myself and I can map out the conversation, I can I can have all these meta conversations and stuff that it really is me just being me. I learned how to stand up for myself from him, but it's not like I'm copying his mannerisms. I'm just standing up for myself. That's really what it is.
People stand up for themselves for a wide variety of ways.
It's the way I have to stand up for myself. It's the way that I have to stand up for myself that makes, because someone in my chat early on was saying, oh, Smeth, I liked Smeth until this conversation. He's being such an asshole to Whick. The way that I'm standing up for myself is the way that makes that person think I'm an asshole to you. And that's the way that Max stands up for himself. And it's the way I have to stand up for myself. But it's also...
You don't have to.
I know I don't.
Look, you don't. You don't have to stand up for yourself like that.
Yeah.
Hold on. There's a few things I have an issue with what you've said. I'll go through them one by one. Let's start with that. You do not have to be an asshole, and neither does he, in order to protect yourself and to this idea, right? And telling people this, right? It's insidious, and this happens a lot on the left, right? Mm-hmm. I just had a conversation with this on Twitter, about this on Twitter with someone, and by conversation, I made a post, and they replied, and I replied back. That's a conversation.
Parasocial.
Yes, a little bit. the statement was, are you familiar with what there was a woman who went to a town council meeting in Berkeley, I believe it was, and now she is facing 16 felony counts and is in bail, awaiting bail with like a $1 million bail. Basically what she did was she went in and she basically said she was going to murder everyone there, right? She threatened their lives. She talked about how the guillotine was going to come for them, and she hoped they all died and were all murdered brutally, and how the metal detectors wouldn't stop them because they would just come to their home. Wild shit. And they did this because the reason they did this, right, is because they felt that they had to in order to advocate for, in this case, Palestine, right? They had to advocate for Gaza.
And you think that that's like what I'm saying?
Do this. It is on a similar vein because you were saying I have to be an asshole because if I'm not an asshole, I can't properly advocate for myself.
It's not that I'm actually. I didn't say I think I'm an asshole. I said the way I stand up for myself makes other people think I'm an asshole because I am standing up for myself. So I am not going to stop myself from standing up for myself because it will make people think I'm an asshole. I'm just going to stand up for myself because I have to, because I'm naturally going to tiptoe around that. Like make sure everybody's happy at all times. Everybody is totally pleased and everybody's like, but in not doing that.
You don't want to be a people pleaser. I get that, but there's a big difference.
And there's a big difference between Gaza, like it's just having a delusion about Gaza and actually just stand. So you will say something that I take issue with, and I notice that you are framing something in a way that I don't agree with, and I could just ignore it and move on, or I can make sure that I correct it and call you out. And I can like be a little bit emotional and express my emotions, and that's what Max does. And it's not that I am copying the mannerisms. I'm just actually that guy.
You might be that guy. That might be true. However, that is not just what Max does, and I don't think it's just what you do either. I think that it's a way to be provocative and on purpose, and you do it on purpose. And I don't know if it's necessarily all bad because it makes for interesting conversation and it sparks discussion. What was one of the quotes you made in the article that people called you intense? That one of the answers you gave in your class, your mental health class, was it? Let me get the quote here. I don't want to misquote.
So everybody in the class said, they were asked like the first day, we had to go around the class, and everybody said, why did we elect to take this class? And everybody said, I want to help people. And basically everybody said that. And I was just seething. I was like, these people are all full of shit. None of because this was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school. Like these are not like I can understand how you saying you want to help people if you're like 22 or something, but you're like 15 and you're a 15-year-old and you're like, I took a psychology because I want to help people. You're a liar. You absolutely didn't. There's no fucking 15-year-old that wants to be a fucking therapist. Like,
do you think you're maybe projecting a little bit here?
No. And
no, you don't think that there's any possibility that at least some of them actually did want to help people?
No, there's a possibility. There's a possibility,
this is another thing
it's totally full of shit.
This is another thing that Max does that I think you get from Max too. I
was in the middle of
mind reading things.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just believe that I understand people. And I at the moment I was like, these people are all full of shit, and they got around to me, and then I said, everybody here either is mentally ill, because you're mentally ill and you want to learn about that. You've been to therapy because you're mentally ill, so that's why you're interested in or because that's the only reason you would have that idea that you want to help people is if you actually already understand what like therapy is, and like a 15-year-old. So you probably are mentally ill because you went to therapy. And the other reason is because you want to learn to manipulate people. You want to fucking like, and so yeah, those are the reasons that you're going to be there.
I fundamentally disagree. I think that there are a lot of people who go into social services, not just therapy, but in all sorts of social services, and because they feel that they want to help people.
Yeah, I agree. That was part of what I said. I'm talking about 15-year-olds.
Okay, even at 15, right?
If you want to, I think that if you want to, so I'm going to agree with myself again. If you want to help people in that way when you're 15 years old, you are the victim of abuse because you are not supposed to be helping people. You are so our society is supposed to be helping you. We're supposed to be taking care of you. If you're a 15-year-old that thinks you need to therapize people, it means you've been parentified and you are mentally ill. So everybody that said they want to, if they actually believe that, they're mentally ill. All those 15-year-olds.
One of the best things about growing up Mormon was that they taught me, and I'm grateful that they did, at an early age, about the concept of serving others, of being of service. I think we do our children we do them no service. I guess to use that word too much, perhaps. We do them a disservice when we do not teach them to help and be a help for others. I think that one of the reasons that I try to interact with people how I do is because I generally want to be a helpful guy.
You're so fucking helpful right now.
I'm not always succeeding at it, right?
So,
but yeah, I want to be in general.
It's good to teach.
Helpful.
It's good to teach your kids how to be helpful and to feel helpful and stuff. But when your kid is picking what classes that they're gonna take, and you're like, oh, I want to be able to help the people around me because I'm gonna pick the class that's gonna make me a useful person because everybody around me, they need all this psychological help and that's what I'm there for. If they think that their purpose is that is an issue.
Or they could recognize that there are people out in the world, maybe not the ones that surround them, but there are other people out there who are not as privileged as them, that they do need the help. And so they want to be of service to someone who's not in their community. And I think that's perfectly valid and right. The problem I'm having here is when you frame all these things in a way that it has to be this, it has to be either X or Y, it can never be Z or A or B or C.
I explained to you how all of these different reasons, I'm not like, do you think I'm a fucking liar? When you say provocative, I know I'm provocative. I'm provocative because
I think you're wrong, not a liar. There's a difference.
Well, no, because when you're saying provocative, it implies that I'm a liar because you said that you actually earlier said that I am intentionally provocative, which implies that I'm lying.
I said I worried about the honesty of your work because you are an artist who is an artist or intentionally provocative.
Anybody that's an artist, you can make this criticism of.
Yes, and I do.
So you just are going to, you think that you're just so
doesn't mean they are. It's just something to be suspectful of, or it's something
you can
to be
suspect everybody. Of. Like there's no like
trust but verify. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, you should.
Okay.
You shouldn't just take if you see a play or a TikTok or a show, you shouldn't take everything said as literal gospel truth. You should recognize that there is a theatrical element to these things, and you should bear that in mind when listening to someone, right?
Even all of those reasons.
This conversation,
so I just explained how
you should bear in mind there is a theatrical element to it, and while I think we're both being fairly genuine, there is this level of theater.
I just explained. Yes, of course. I just explained how a lot of different reasons to me. Wanting to help people and stuff, I was saying, if you actually believe that, then I think that those people are still mentally ill and parentified. So it could be there's a lot of different reasons why somebody might say that they want to help people, or want to take. There's a lot of different reasons why people would want to take that class, and I would categorize the majority, not all, but the vast majority of those as either they are mentally ill or they want to learn how to manipulate people, which probably also means that they're mentally ill.
Setting aside that the wanting to manipulate people means you're probably mentally ill, whole nother discussion.
Or maybe autistic. Because a lot of autistic people will use the word manipulate, and because they're trying to learn about human interactions from a very they need to learn about it in a structured way that is the way most people use manipulatively, but they just need to learn it like that. So. If you've ever met autistic people, a lot of people say that.
Oh, have I met autistic people? Well, you know where we are. We're online. We're in Twitch. We're in YouTube.
Yeah,
autistic people are just here. Okay, but we're in the lion's den, so to speak.
We're in the Smeth den.
the Smeth. Is this your Smeth costume?
My Smeth costume?
This is my Whick costume.
I cannot take off the Smeth costume.
Oh,
It
that's
comes
a
off.
skill
It comes
issue.
off at the dick, and I'm trying to pull at it every fucking day, and it never comes off.
Jokes aside, though, it is frustrating talking to you. It is because you are so certain of your views on people, on conversations, and on things. You are so certain of the correctness of your assertions that it becomes very difficult to kind of.
So you want to make
Talk
me
about
less
it.
certain? Like, why would I talk
Yeah,
about? No, why would
my
I?
original? Do you know what my original channel name was?
What?
Death of Certainty. I think certainty is a cancer. I think it is chains that bind us, and I think that it needs to be killed. I
Okay,
think our
well-
certainty needs to die.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's very interesting. But
Are
I
you
think
lying?
so. I wouldn't want to talk. I'm mostly interested in talking about things that I feel certain about, and of course, like I'm open to new ideas. But the things that I have like really thought out and come to conclusions about, those are the things that I'm willing to talk about. And I'm not gonna be like, especially in the context of like a conversation, like especially we're talking about me and myself. So you're telling me I should be less certain of myself.
I'm talking about your article, and you should.
Yeah, and so yes, exactly. So that's why like. Most of the kind of conversations that I have about this are gaslighting, because you're trying.
Gaslighting. I'm asking you to doubt
telling-
yourself. I'm telling you
Yeah,
directly.
yeah.
I want you and everyone
Yeah.
to doubt themselves more. I should doubt myself more.
It's a very common trend in this space, the way that people engage. I think it trickles down from Destiny, but yeah, it's the way that, because he kind of invented the space, but it's the way people kind of debate and whatever. It's just in the way
Are we
they have these
debating?
conversations. Yeah, like somebody will do something that, oh, you did something bad, and then everybody will be like, well, we need to have these conversations. We need to tell you how bad you are, and so you can agree, so that you can like heal. We're just here to help you and have this public conversation where we ridicule you, and it's really just the status quo of how
I
these
hope
people.
you don't. In all seriousness, I hope you don't feel ridiculed right now.
A little
I'm not
bit,
here to ridicule you.
a little bit.
$5 from Origin of Logos. to
I'm
say I took
ridiculing you too.
I mean,
It's
I don't
fine.
feel ridiculed. I took psychology courses at university. I never wished to use what I learned for manipulating others. LOL. Well, to be fair, Origin, he's talking about 15-year-olds.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
so-
not. Of course. Like no. Like I'm not saying I have a distrust of all people in psychology and stuff. I'm talking about people that taking their very first intro to psych class. They're 15 years old, and like I don't think that 15-year-olds. They're not even very empathetic. Their psychology hasn't developed to a place where they can have that helpful psychological attitude. And if it has, then I think that they are the victim of abuse. What a therapist does
These are
is
such strong statements, and I don't think these statements are not worthy of being said so strongly that
Well, I
a
think they
child
are.
who's empathetic is a victim of abuse.
No, I'm saying a child that is empathetic and wants to learn how to therapize other people is probably somebody who is very, like most likely probably somebody that is parentified and somebody who has not been allowed to be a child.
Explain what you mean by parentified. You keep using that word. What do you mean?
Parentified means that your parents are so the way that Max treats me, and he has boundaries with me that protect me, and he doesn't let me take care of him in certain ways. If I am doing that, he will do anything if that he is in his power to make it so I can't. So that's what a parent does. Like you are the provider. You unconditionally love your kids and do everything. If you make it so that your love to your child is conditional upon them taking care of you, then now you're parentifying them and you're forcing them to you're
making them into your parent.
Yeah, and this is actually a very
Kind of.
common thing. It's common among the people, like narcissistic parents, just you're using the kid, like you're leveraging things over the kid. Being a parent is a totally like sacrificial thing, and you are now like sure, your discipline is important and structure is important, and you tell your kid what to do, and you set boundaries, and you're stern and stuff, but it's all in service of the whatever's best for the kid. So maybe the kid needs discipline, that's what's best for them, but you don't discipline the kid because it's best for you. If you do, maybe you do a little bit, but if you do that too much, you're being abusive.
I mean, yeah, if you overly discipline your kid, you're being abusive. I agree.
If you do it just because you enjoy it, is what I'm saying, because it's what you want.
I mean, I would hope that parents want to be good to their kids. I would hope it brings them joy.
Right. I'm
would
just
hope
saying
that they get things out
I'm
of
saying
it.
if you made your kid the only way
I get what you're saying.
they parentified.
If you make it so that they have to take care of you, then it's a problem. And I've known parents like this who, again, the kids, their emotional rock that they lean on, and they tell all their troubles and traumas to, and the kid just nods and smiles and tries to help. I know that.
That's what Max refuses to do with me too. That's exactly so.
But he's not your dad.
But that's why I said he treats me like he is.
He shouldn't.
Okay, well that is very fair.
Parasocial.
That's not parasocial.
It is. It's parasocial.
No, it's not parasocial. It's like we finally got there. You're like, okay, you agree. You're treating me like he's my dad, and then you move back to this. No, he's not, because parasocial is very different from treating you like you're somebody's your son. That's not the same as fucking parasocial in any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
There. If you have a relationship with a mentor or a father figure who is not your real father, right? There is some level of parasociality there. There just is. But we've moved past that. You're correct. We just agree to disagree.
If you're adopted,
let's talk about your extreme statements here. The constant, like, the only reason a 15-year-old could ever want to go into therapy is because they have been parentified. You're asserting this, but I don't think you back this up.
Not the only, but majority.
Even a majority, right? You're asserting this, but I don't believe it.
That's what I thought then, and I still think that
I don't believe you. I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I think you're wrong because I think that there are just so many options of a reason. I know I'm an old man, but I remember what it's like being a teenager. You do things for all sorts of reasons, and people are often doing things with every intent to do the right thing. They may not actually be doing the right thing, but most people... Villains don't usually wake up trying to be villains, right?
I am your villain. You're my villain. We are enemies on this battlefield because I believe that certainty is absolutely important and valuable, and you don't. And I just think that in a world where
you're saying that to pick a fight.
Well, again, that's because I've learned. With streaming, I try to figure out where the conflict is in the conversation and then make a beeline for it, and that's what it is right now. I'm not lying. I'm actually very pro certainty, and you're not. And I think it's interesting that you have that position. It makes a lot of sense, actually, to me, because how I see you as like a person now. It makes me feel like I understand you more.
How do you see me as a person? I'm curious.
You're just the resistance to certainty. Kind of, it makes sense. Just how it's not really I could write about it and try to like articulate exactly like every single behavior and stuff, but it's just the sense I get of you, that you have this resistance to certainty. And there's I kind of understand that there is something about that is good, but I just think that especially as people that are going into these conversations, so like a conversation that I might have with let's say like a conversation I might have with Max in private, I might go into it with a less certain attitude, or I might talk about something I'm less certain about. But especially if I'm going on stream, to talk about my ideas and stuff, it's not really for me, I don't think it's the arena to be, like both of us being certain doesn't prevent the audience from having a nuanced take from both of us engaging like that. I think it's useful to be certain, and we need leaders to be certain, and it's just, I don't know. I just think it's useful.
Oh God, I hope our leaders aren't super certain on anything, right?
I hope they are.
I hope they're not. I hope that before they press that fucking button, I want them to double and triple and quadruple check. Okay, I want them to be fucking like
right. But when they press the button,
doubtful.
You don't want them to be pressing it unless they're actually certain.
You can okay. I'm not going to be pedantic because I was about to say you will never be 100% certain if you should press that button.
Well, then don't press it.
But fair. So Scallywag says, and I think this is useful to our discussion now. The only reason I'm bringing him into discussion is because it addresses this topic. Whick, you said you should doubt yourself more, but you refuse to accept you're wrong about the opinion about his relationship being parasocial. You won't accept his opinions possibly being correct. I'm not arguing with how parasocial his relationship with Max is, just your certainty. There is a paradox, so to speak, or some tension between these things, between having a belief and being certain about that belief, and being just too wishy-washy.
You sound very certain of that.
There is.
I'm the only one who can have opinions at this point. Now you've staked out a position where you're not even allowed to fucking think. You should just default to whatever I say.
Misunderstanding of what?
I mean, it's an extreme. It's an extreme of what you're saying.
A misunderstanding, a misinterpretation. The extremes are not where I dwell.
It's a comically two-dimensional extreme.
It is. It is.
Yes.
Which makes it a caricature, which is generally just lacking in actual realness to the take. But to the point, right? The reason I brought up the hypothesis, and it remains a hypothesis, but the more we talk, the more, okay, no, it makes sense, right? Of the parasocial nature between Max and Smeth is...
Why do you feel like my relationship is more parasocial because of this conversation?
The answers you gave when I said, hey, I'm worried that it might be parasocial, and then your defense of that parasociality was to say, oh, he set himself up as a father figure to me, and he puts boundaries, and it's a one-way relationship.
Okay, I guess
and all these things are just hitting the parasocial boxes I guess just over and over again.
So I mean,
so I'm like, okay,
I know I can't convince you, but to everybody that's like listening, anybody with a fucking brain, that's obvious. Like somebody who is establishing themselves as a mentor role, or establishing their role as a fatherly role, that is fundamentally not a parasocial relationship. It's a mentor relationship. It's this fucking not parasocial.
Mentor relationships have baked into them some degree of parasociality.
I don't think it's even useful to there's a nuanced way we can talk about that, but it's just not even useful at all.
Like I said, it's a spectrum. It's not as parasocial.
You keep when you say that you're worried because of the parasociality, and then when I pressed you on that line of the conversation, then you're like, oh well, it's actually not actually a bad thing. It can be because there's not necessarily a bad thing with the parasocial relationship with a mentor, but also I'm worried about you because he's established himself as a mentor, and that makes me scared.
Person.
Okay.
And if your mentor is a bad person, I am worried about you.
That is a solid point. That is, I can accept that as a position.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had a parasocial relationship with Jesus Christ, I'd be a lot fucking less worried. Okay. If you had a parasocial relationship with Gandhi or someone, I would be a lot less worried. Does that make sense? If you had a parasocial relationship with someone I considered a good man or a good woman, I would be a lot less concerned. But because your parasocial relationship or mentor relationship, whatever, father figure relationship, is someone as us, oh, I'm wondering if this is a dad who beats you when we're not looking, right? I don't know if you ask him, hey, Daddy Max, how was my report? And then he takes off his belt slowly.
He won't.
He starts just beating the shit out of you.
I haven't asked him what he thinks about it. because I know he won't tell me. As soon as I published it, he immediately shared it on every single platform. I made like a Twitter post, and he's like, the way you worded this, the way you worded this is gonna make it not work in the algorithm, because it suggests that you're linking to something else, and they want to keep you on the platform. So I changed my post so it would reach more people. As far as what he thinks about it, he won't tell me, because if he tells me, it will have an impact on me, and he doesn't want to do that. He wants me to have complete control over my own thoughts and feelings about him.
So he set himself up as a mentor or father figure for you, but refuses to do anything that will influence or impact you. I think that's abusive.
No. He won't. He refuses to do anything that will impact my opinion of him, or he doesn't tell me what to think about things. He will.
Do you think a father who refuses to discipline their child because he worries that how their child will view him after he does that?
You think Max should discipline me?
Do you think that that's a good father?
Do you think Max should discipline me?
I think that anyone who reviews your work should be honest with you about what they think.
He's not dishonest about it.
Omission is dishonesty.
No, he's not.
If I refuse to tell you. If you share something with me, like, hey, I wrote an article about you, and I acknowledge I read it, I've seen it, and I refuse to tell you what I think about it, I think that is manipulative.
Yeah, I get it. There might be some aspects of it that he will talk about with me, but I haven't asked, because in general I know that he will not. He has a very strong position against giving people validation, and he has a very strong position against giving. He doesn't want to tell me what to like. So if your parent tells you what to think about them, they are being abusive. That's a fact. Like you are, if you're not allowed to formulate your own opinions about your parents, and they tell you you're wrong for thinking a certain thing about them, and discipline you for that, they're being abusive. They're literally psychologically controlling you and shit. Like, that's not healthy.
If your kid comes up to you and he's written a report and it's about you, right?
Right.
And they say, hey, I'm going to share this with the class. I'm going to publish it. I'm going to put it out there for the world to see. You read it, and you think it's shit. You just think it's a terrible article. It's terribly written, terribly done. It doesn't hit. It's just bad. I think that you are being a bad father, a bad mentor, a bad friend.
Let's make it more one for one. More one for one.
An honest opinion on what you think. So, for example, there's a reason I don't share with my friends.
I'm not trying to distract you. Let's make your example more one for one. Let's say that because you said you think it's well written. Someone else told me they didn't think it was, so I appreciate that. And that really validates me. Okay, but
you shouldn't take validation from me. But fair.
I'm being facetious. Let's say that you're just thought experiment. You're not. Let's say that you're the dad. Okay, I give you the paper, and I'm saying I'm going to publish this, and I'm going to bring this to my class. We were to write about something, and I wrote this, and it's about you and your psychology and whatever. And you think it's like well written, but you're like, that's not how I don't agree with what you're saying about me. That's not how I feel about myself. You make me sound abusive when you do this, and I don't think I'm abusive. You're not. If your kid thinks that you're abusive and you're telling them that they can't talk about it, now you're being abusive by the least abusive thing you can do is let them talk about how they think that you're abusive.
I think if your kid comes up to you and says that he feels or she feels that you're abusive, you should absolutely talk to that kid about why they think that way.
Right, absolutely.
You should absolutely have that discussion. Not having that discussion is just a recipe for disaster on multiple levels.
Cool.
If anyone comes, your spouse or your friend, if anyone comes up to you and says, I think you're being abusive and manipulative, have a discussion with them. To refuse to talk to them because you might influence them or impact them, I think it's weird, I guess, for lack of a better term. But there's a reason I don't share certain things, like my creative writings, my songs, my stories, with most people who I consider close friends, because I worry that they won't be honest with me, because they are my friend, will tell me it's great when it's not actually great. That is my fear, right? However, I do it anyway because I think that fear that I have is partially irrational. Okay? So
Thank you for the $2. Mr. Girl is my favorite rapist and songwriter. Okay, sorry.
rapist?
I think they said rapist. Is there two P's in rapist? Rapist?
I don't know how many P's there are. I don't think rapist is an actual word.
Yeah, they're
I think it's rappers.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that said,
people in my audience, they say they want to hear your songs.
they might, but there's a look. I keep certain things siloed off and separate for my own well-being. Okay, right? Like,
man,
when
if only I could get into that fucking Whick silo. I gotta get in there. I gotta wallow.
You gotta weasel your way in there, squirm in. But yeah, maybe if I had a working guitar right now, I might play you guys a song. But they are not as artistic as the Mr. Girl songs. I will tell you that they're much more in lines of. I usually write a song when I'm sad, so if that helps you make sense of things. But yeah, that's usually when I'm thoughtful and sad.
Why do you not want to share them? By the way, I'm just curious. Why?
Oh, online?
I want to. I respect.
Everything you share online gets turned into a meme immediately, and I don't want that.
You don't want it to be a meme, yeah. Especially like there are people that
will purposely go around and do that. You know this.
Yeah. I saw. Yeah, it makes sense. But also, like, so my attitude about the is by being vulnerable. So this is my assessment of you and that behavior. I think that being afraid of that makes it worse. And if you're just like unabashed, if you're just completely unabashed, then for them to
not just fear though,
for them to ridicule you after you're so unabashed makes them look like assholes and makes them feel like shit. But if you are apprehensive, then they're like, it's like when you pull a dog back on the leash and then they pull more. But if you let loose a little bit, the dog just kind of like eases up because it's once you start pulling that the dog starts pushing. So
I don't know. I've had dogs that they'll go,
sure,
right? Like they don't care. I'll say this: it's not just the fact that I'm worried about it being turned into a meme. Is that being vulnerable towards someone is a sign of intimacy and privilege. If I am vulnerable with you, to you, I don't know the proper terminology. It is a privilege. It is something you have to earn. It's not just something you get. One of the things that happens in this space, and not just in this space, but in the online space altogether, one of the things I think we're losing as a culture is we have turned what should be intimate moments into content, right? Sure. And I think that is to the detriment of us as a species, as a culture.
Well, I mean, I don't share everything, but I don't know. I don't really agree. Well, hold on. I don't agree in regards to me or Max or like there's
really?
There's certain types of people. I can think of some faces. Just certain types of when you memify it, I think it is hurtful. But if you are vulnerable and share something, I think you do need to have boundaries, and not have like everything out there, like being Ice Poseidon. That's bad. It's bad for you to be Ice Poseidon. You know what I'm talking about? Like he put everything.
I don't know who. I know of Ice Poseidon only.
He like even shared his address, and he like would have fans randomly show up at his house, and just like he's like, you're allowed to just show up, and he like that's the absolute lack of boundaries. You shouldn't be like that. But if you do want to share something, like you want to share your sadness that you're expressing with your guitar, then that is a beautiful thing. And that's what I think art is. And it's connecting with other people. And it is a privilege. You should be privileged to share my art.
I think there are incentives to these types of spaces which encourage people to share these things that otherwise would not share them. And I also think that it makes it into more performative than it necessarily would be.
But then it's not actually, if it is performative though, it's not actually vulnerable. So you have to constantly be fighting you have to constantly fight your audience to be because if you start following what they're saying, now you're actually more dishonest because they're more in control.
But it's almost impossible not to.
Well, it is possible, but it is a hindrance. Someone super chatted me $2 on the topic. They said, "Can Whick sing to us as if we were Pixie?"
I don't know what I would sing to Pixie. Shit.
I think it's just a meme.
Look, my guitar playing and my singing are different things. Okay, I've never been a great singer. I have a piano song I recorded somewhere. I'd have to find that.
I've been meaning to play the piano on my
Maybe
stream.
one day I will get out and I will play on my keyboard and I'll play you guys a piano song or something, right? Maybe one day, but not today.
Maybe I can feature you on my rap song that I'm eventually going to be producing. I'm still writing. It's called Sexual Retard. Maybe I can get like a piano bit from you.
I have feelings about this. So I do this as kind of a joke, but I actually want it to happen. Is I've challenged certain people to a rap battle, right? To have a rap battle because I think that would be interesting to have.
I thought you were afraid of being memeified. Now you're fucking talking about doing rap battles.
Because I don't care about that. That my rapping skills. Okay, I see. I put none of my personal worth or value or anything into whether or not I'm a good battle rapper. Okay. Yeah. But when it comes to my stories, it is something that I care about.
Elder Drazi just said, "On God, I would rap battle Whick." I think that should happen.
Yeah. Maybe it'll happen.
Yeah.
Scallywag for $5 says, "How much would it cost for you to sing 'Fuck Her Gently' to Aiko?" To Aiko? Well, if you guys want me, I could. Look here. If you guys pay me, what's a good number? $25. I will sing right now. "Fuck Her Gently." You can clip it, and you can send it to Aiko, and I'll say it's for Aiko at the end. How's that?
Elder Drazi just said, "If it doesn't happen, it's because he ran."
It's because he ran. Do I look like President Sunday to you? Okay. No. Do I look like President Scumbag? No. If I want to rap battle you, we'll rap battle.
Do you still hate him?
Okay. Sunday, isn't
still hard. Is it still hard feelings? You still like,
Yeah, I don't. I think Sunday is a bad person. Yes.
He's definitely an opportunist, for sure. But I don't know. Like I always like don't dislike him. I had this beef with him at one point about Lav spent like a month writing this video, and as soon as she put it up, he instantly rips it. Yeah, and I was like, that's such a scummy thing. And but also every once in a while he does something I like.
I think he has good takes on occasion. I think that I agree with him sometimes.
The way he talks. But
when I talk about here's the thing. When I talk about whether or not someone is a good person, I'm not talking about their takes. I know plenty of great people I would trust with my life, who have really dog shit opinions on almost everything, right? Their takes are dumb. They're usually wrong. You know what I mean? But there are other people who I mostly agree with. I think they're spot on this, that, and the other thing. Who also I wouldn't let them around, right? Any of my family, and I would probably keep my guard up almost all the time because I know that they're not a good person. I'll say this since the topic's up. I think that Sunday will do whatever he feels is necessary to win and to make money. And that's how he decides how to run his show and to run his interactions. He'll do this. Which way's the wind blowing? Then he'll follow that.
Yeah.
That's it.
It seems like you don't like, or you don't take well to the drama. You don't like a lot of these people that.
Yes and no. I won't lie. Sometimes drama's nice. It's funny. It's fun, right? On certain on certain topics, but there are drama. There's types of drama that I find gross, right? When everyone was talking about Hunter Avalone's situation, I thought that was pretty gross, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that with his wife leaving him and there's being a divorce?
And there was like porn or something.
Yeah. It was it left me a bad taste in my mouth. I understand, like, I don't judge people harshly for covering that or anything like that. I don't think they make them bad people. I just felt it uncouth. It was unnecessary. It was just kind of gross. And that kind of drama grosses me out. Not the so much the porn stuff.
Yeah.
It's the personal.
Yeah, well, it's like
when it's deeply personal. It's like
it's when you feel like something, like the appropriate response is to kind of like feel bad for them, and then everybody's like just making like jokes, and it's like, yeah, it's a little bit. But yeah, there's people don't see each other as people on this, right? They don't. I have a lot of respect for people who allow themselves to be part of, like, there's like a lot of drama streamers that they will talk shit about and have like back and forths with other drama streamers, but like at the end of the day they understand that, you know, we are people, but like we're both consenting to this, you know what I mean?
There are lines and you don't cross certain lines, right?
Yeah.
When people bring up people's family, that's a line, especially their kids, or especially like things like that. If you are bringing someone's kid into an argument, right, you've crossed a line too.
Yeah.
Unless it's, I mean, I can imagine certain scenarios where you'd have to, right? But in almost every case, like, it's just like, yo, we just don't do that here. And there are certain things that you don't do, right? And I guess to relate this back is, I don't think that Sunday has those lines. I just don't.
Yeah.
That's all. I guess, well, people asking me where they can give me money. I had, hold on. I'll get you a link, Scallywag. Do you have a Discord? You can DM me and I'll give you a link to my PayPal. How's that? It's not perfect, but I trust you not to dox me, so. It's probably unwise, but, you know.
Anything else?
Anything else? Yeah, actually. If you could change one misconception, or if you could correct one misconception that people have about you and or Max, what would it be?
Me and or Max?
You and or Max. One misconception.
It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to. I really don't have a problem with the way people think about me. I don't. I think that because if I'm going to talk about provocative things, I really don't have a problem with some of the people that react strongly. Like I'll fight with you about it, but on stream. But the fact that people are having opinions like that, if I were to change it, it would make my art not provocative. So like it would have taken away the point of making it. So
to correct the myth would make it not provocative?
No, like not myth. It's just like when people say that. So like I was trying to tell you that I'm not trying to copy Mr. Girl's mannerisms. I'm trying to make space for myself, and it makes me act more like him because underlying, like, so I am copying Mr. Girl's attitude about himself, where he is making space for himself. I've learned that from him, but his mannerisms I haven't, for the most part. And maybe I have a little bit, and I think he's picked up some from me too. Maybe. But that's not really, none of that is intentional at all. The only thing that's intentional is trying to make space for myself the way he did.
I'm sure. Look,
that's a misconception. So people, but when people just try to like define me by something so small or so narrow, you know, I don't really think they really believe it, or they're not interested in really understanding me. So that's fine. That's the relationship they want to have with me, and I kind of respect that. I'm an object. I've put myself on the internet. I'm an object for you to play with.
You are
like
content.
That.
We are all content at the end of the day.
And I've put myself out there to do that. So it's hard for me to really think about it like that. Really, I'm impressed with myself that I can't. But it's easier for me to think about misconceptions of Max.
Okay, name one that you would correct if you could.
That he's a pedophile. Like, it would be good for me. It would be good for me, very good for me, if he wasn't banned from YouTube. He would still be making tons of fucking money, and I'd probably be making tons of fucking money too. And he would have a way bigger audience now, and like he would have kept growing and all that, and that would have been really good for me. So whatever the misconception is that led him to getting banned, like he got banned because he was mass reported by like Fuentes people originally.
Reapers, yes.
And he stayed banned because there's a general, my sense is that he stayed banned because there's a general distaste for him, and he has, walked the line too many times, and like it's anybody that's in that moderation position is like, I don't know, what should I do? So, and he was unbanned, and then he got fucking banned again. Whatever it is, I wish he wasn't banned from YouTube.
Fair enough. Smeth.
For, selfish reasons,
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine to be selfish now and again. Smeth, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I don't know if we understand the report, or not the report, I'm sorry, the article that you published more. I will link it again to my audience. We're not going to go, gang. Apparently, I'm singing a song once I get this money.
Can I stay? Can I stay for that?
Do you want to stay for the song?
Yeah, I won't. I'll turn my mic off. I want to.
Okay, give me a second. Let me put the links to your article.
He can't hear me.
Give it a view, gang. So this guy become Mama Max? Not that Max Warrenberger. Okay, you just got here. We're talking about Max Karson, or Mr. Girl.
Yeah,
okay,
Max,
he wrote an article called "Becoming Max." What's the tagline again? What's the
the assassination of Max Karson by the coward Smeth.
Yeah. I don't know if we actually had a proper dissection of it because we kept arguing about parasociality, but I enjoyed the conversation nonetheless. I encourage you all to read it and form your own opinions. And yes, I did. Why would I say it if I didn't? But for now,
I believe you.
Good. For now, we are going to end this segment of the stream. Actually, do you want to? We'll do this after the song. If you want to stick around, do you want to do call-ins for a little bit?
Sure.
Or no?
Sure. Yeah, I got
I don't know how much time you got.
I got a little bit of time. Mainly, I prepare like a musical score for my streams now. I know it's something you said I shouldn't do, but I have a bit more left.
Fair enough. Gang, okay, Scallywag, Xnay on the PayPal A thing, just super chat me $25. I'm going to pull up the lyrics to the song, and I'll sing it. I'll dedicate it to Aiko for you, okay? Because you asked me to, and you're paying me money.
Don't get tomfoolery.
I don't think this would offend. Would Aiko be offended at this? I don't think she would she? I hope not. I wouldn't be offended, but give me a second. Let me pull up the lyrics. Okay. Lyrics are up. Let me move this over. Oh, no. See, there's a problem with my setup. I need like one more monitor.
You should be.
It's too expensive.
With me, you can absolutely be more cutthroat. Like I feel like you are actually kind of...
$20. You know what? It'll work. It's not exactly 25, but it's close enough.
I think you should be with me more cutthroat.
Do you not think I was cutthroat enough?
A little bit.
It goes against my grain to be mean. I don't want to be mean to you, Smeth.
But that makes it more mean.
How so?
Because you still have the same opinions. You're just trying to say them in a non-mean way, but that makes it more mean because it's more, slippery.
Slippery? No, I think that you can be honest, right? And you can be genuine, but you don't have to be mean. Being mean is a choice. There's almost no thought I can share, right? That I couldn't share it in a tactful way. It doesn't allow $25 super chats. That's weird. But thank you for the $25. I appreciate it, sir. Can I sing this song and then we can continue and gather your thoughts? You can mute your mute yourself before you wreck yourself, and let me get up the camera, set it up so I don't have to do all these things. Okay. Okay, so I've been paid by Scallywag $25 to dedicate this song to Aiko. Aiko, this one's for you. This is a song for the ladies, but fellas, listen closely. You don't always have to fuck her hard. In fact, sometimes that's not right to do. Sometimes you gotta make some love and fucking give her some smoochies too. Sometimes you've got to squeeze. Sometimes you've got to say please. Sometimes you got to say, hey, I'm gonna fuck you softly. I'm gonna screw you gently. I'm gonna hump you sweetly. I'm gonna ball you discreetly. And then you say, hey, I brought you flowers. And then you say, wait a minute, Sally, I think I got something in my teeth. Could you get it out for me? That's fucking teamwork. What's your favorite position? That's cool, it's not my favorite, but I'll do it for you. What's your favorite dish? I'm not gonna cook it, but I'll order it from Zanzibar. And then I'm gonna love you completely. And then I'll fucking fuck you discreetly. And then I'll fucking bone you completely. But then I'm gonna fuck you hard. Oh, God. Hard. End scene. Hope you thought that was worth $25. Thank you for the money. And $5 from Warren Burger to say, we're here, Wick. Take my money. I appreciate it. You can clip that. You can do whatever.
That was worth more than $25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I like singing. I went when I was in Ohio in Progressive Victory. Me and Tuna Chip went karaokeing. Have you seen the videos of that?
Have not.
Ask him to DM
I think I saw a clip of it.
Yeah, DM him. And I hope that Achilles says he's actually 100% on key, hitting every note, except for the end there. couldn't get that high one.
Eldrazi said he totally sang along. El Jim says voice of an angel.
Fairy Queen just got here apparently and says, stop this immediately, LOL. This is amazing. I'm dying from the cringe at the moment. Look, again, if you pay me enough money,
you know that is a cringe as fuck song. You know that, right?
It's a good song. Okay. I like that song. Okay, it's a fun song. It's funny. It's good.
It's funny, but it's funny because it's cringe.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. And that's okay though. That's okay. You had something. Oh, you wanted me to be less kind to you.
Well, no, I think that it would be more kind if you were not afraid to be mean. Because, like someone in my chat said,
Brittany Simon viewers just came in. Brittany Simon viewers, I feel bad for you. You missed it. You missed it. You look. You have to rewind the tape just a little bit.
He's
Someone
gonna
paid me some money to give us a very special musical
he's gonna
number.
love you discreetly. Okay.
Yeah, we had a very special musical number on the stream. I know it's okay. It's okay, Brittany.
He's gonna
Another
ball
time.
you.
Welcome back. Wick TV needs more syncing. I mean, you say that now, but don't get me started, gang. Don't get me started. But I don't. I get what you're saying in that you think that I'm holding back because I think that you can't take it, and that's not true.
But I
right?
think that you aren't. You think you're still saying the same things, but in trying to say it in a non-mean way, it actually is more mean because it means that like you're slipping it in without just being direct.
But I am being kind does not preclude directness. I think I can be very direct while not being cruel. I guess to reframe it, I try not to be cruel. I try to say things in a way that is not cruel. Now, I can be very critical of you and critical of anything and not be cruel. I don't think cruel is necessary in most cases.
I just think that your definition of cruel is broader than mine, and I think that part of what you think is cruel actually isn't cruel.
Can you give me an example?
So like on a stream, especially especially on a stream, like as separate from normal life interactions, you being like just saying whatever opinion you have about what thing I did or something, very like bluntly, exactly, which you could see as like cruel. It also makes you look like an asshole. So you both have to take responsibility for it.
What was I not blunt? What did you misunderstand, or what did you not like? I think I was very blunt with you.
Well, like you had
have
like
a parasocial relationship with Max that I feel is worrisome.
Well,
and
like
unhealthy.
because you wouldn't say like, so you had a bunch of contradictions where you're saying that I'm both like parasocial, but also Max has established a mentor relationship, and mentor relationships are parasocial, but it doesn't mean that they're bad parasocial. And then it took a while for you to get to the point. It's like you say Max is a bad person, and that is like more like you're going for where you're in the direction of where you can be heading toward being. I think you might feel like you're going towards the direction of being a bully when you start just saying shit like, I think this person's a bad person, like that kind of shit. You're going towards a place where you can, and I think that just saying that right out the gate, it makes it like I can just, because I respect that. Like I don't think he's a bad person, but I respect that you think he's a bad person. I absolutely like a lot more than working around it.
Well, I wasn't working around it to hide it from you. I was simply, well, first of all, I'm pretty sure you knew that I thought he was a bad person. I mean, based on the interactions that I know you've seen between me and him, and we've had conversations on this before, I don't think you were in the dark about it.
I don't know. Like the way you were talking about it made it hard for me to really put it together in the moment, because I'm like, because I didn't know what you were trying to say.
I don't think you're a bad person.
It contextualizes all of everything you said, and means that I now understand. It's like oh man, I don't know what. It's like if you know that you have some like misogyny or like racism, and that's kind of underlying the conversation you're having. Like sometimes I have misogynistic feelings, just like every other man, woman, and child on the planet. Okay, but like if I notice it and I'm in a conversation, like an intimate conversation with a woman, I'm gonna say like I will not hide it from them, so that because then they're probably equipped to deal with it. But if I hide it from them, it means that they don't know how to do. Like it's more cruel because I'm
not hiding anything from you, though.
I think you were.
I'm pretty open.
I think you were.
Well, I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not. If it seemed that way, is simply because I don't think you are a bad person. What I'm trying not to do is give the impression that I think that you're a bad person, and I wanted to draw that distinction. So that wasn't me being kind necessarily. It wasn't me trying to spare your feelings. It was simply me trying to be precise in how I communicated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think that just no, it doesn't make sense. I think it's way less precise.
It doesn't make sense?
Yeah.
What am I? Okay, audience, hell, back me up here. Am I being weird?
No, it's less precise. It's less precise if you don't just say that.
So one of the problems with talking to you, being direct, is because you mind read a lot, and so I have to watch the things.
But you're
I say
making me
because if I
mind
say
read.
something,
But you're making me mind read by
I'm
not
making you mind read. What I'm doing is I'm trying to stop triggering you from going off and spurring about a certain phrase I use.
By doing
and
that,
reading 100 things into that
but
before I can finish my fucking sentence.
But by doing that, you're making it so I have to mind read you more.
You don't have to. You could simply listen, and then you'd be okay.
But I would just.
But you want to talk.
I would be more down. I would be more
down
down to simply listen if you just said, "I think Max is a bad person," like right off the bat, and I'm like, okay, so.
Yeah, but you knew this.
But
you knew I thought he was a bad person. We have to take the context.
Well, no,
I
think he's a bad. Like I think that I was like just kind of going by. You think he's fucked up or like insane or something, but like not.
What other thing can I use? Okay. I think I've told you this directly before, that I think he's manipulative. I think that he uses this veneer of I'm simply being honest to be cruel. I think he uses the veneer of I'm saying what no one else has the guts to say to just be an asshole. I think that he mind reads way worse than you and better at you at the same time because he's more sneaky with it. I don't think
he's sneaky. He's very direct.
That's the sneakiness of it.
I all that stuff you just said, that like that part I could just agree on that.
This all means he's bad.
Yeah. I think that if you think those things, everything you said makes a lot more sense to me.
Well, I'm glad it finally makes sense, but that's the reason.
Well, it's easier for me to disagree with. It's easy for me to disagree with because the only way that I would agree otherwise is if I, like, in the middle of the conversation, realize that I think he's a bad person too. But if you just say that now, I feel like I'm connecting with you more, and we're on the same page.
Good. I'm glad. So, what I want you to take away, I don't know what you will, but my goal right now is for you to take away this conversation that you should examine and re-examine your relationship with Mr. Karson and try not to fall. Don't become the worst of him.
I'm him so much that
don't become.
My hatred and rage towards him grows every day. So
I don't think he actually hates himself, though.
You don't think he hates himself?
I don't think he does. I think it's performative.
That's not what I meant.
This is the hard thing to say.
Because I do think
it's a hard thing to talk about because
I think that's interesting that you think that.
It's hard to separate the performance from the person, and I think that he blurs those lines on purpose to make it harder for you, the audience, to do so.
Right. I don't have that trouble with him, but I mean, from your perspective, that means that, I am like, sucked into his fucking vortex, right? It makes it like, I appreciate you saying that because it makes it all easy to talk about. And for me, for other people, they need you to fucking wear these fucking velvet gloves and shit, but it makes it so much easier for me.
I'm not wearing gloves. This isn't like a secret.
No, like, so you don't think he actually hates himself?
Look, the most offensive thing that you have said to me so far tonight has been that I put on kid gloves with you.
I think in general,
I have absolutely not done that.
I think that
I respect you too much.
I think that you were taught by your parents to have velvet skin. Your skin on your hands is always velveted.
Only because I lotion it up. Okay.
Yes, so you can fuck them discreetly.
They're not even gonna feel it. Right? They'll slip it in there, slide in. They won't even know. One of those benefits, baby, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't think that you were. I think that, like, I do give people the benefit of the doubt, and that can come across as being kind, but it's not. It is simply not thinking you're being dishonest until I have reason to believe that you're being dishonest.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm fucking talking about. I'm talking about like when you said, now here's where, like when you said that you don't believe Max hates himself, you said that and you were apprehensive about it, and you're like, look, like you were like leveling with me. And that apprehension is what I'm talking about. That's the kid gloves.
That was me performing for my audience. That was me being okay, gang.
Oh.
I'm gonna really tell it how it is. It's a flare.
Well, maybe you're doing the fucking thing that you're blaming Max of doing.
I tell everyone that there are theatrical elements to our conversation. It is on stream.
You actually ended your song with one of these.
I actually think this. I actually believe this. This isn't a lie. I'm being genuine.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
believe
disagree?
that. No, I believe that you believe that. Yeah, I absolutely do.
You believe that I believe that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I guess that's probably the best we're gonna get right now. Do you have any questions for me before we? Oh, we were gonna talk calls, gang. Man, you distracted me. I'm gonna blame it on you, even though it's not your fault. Gang, do you want to talk to me or Smeth about this? Do you think that Max is someone he should become or someone he should run from? Call in. ! Discord. Okay. Let me give the link on the YouTubes as well. You're going to click that link.
Do you want me to be my best self?
I want you to be
You want me to open up and make space for myself and be and not become deluded and dissociated from my environment? Or do you want me to be meek, little fucking pathetic little baby Smeth?
I want
Just
you to be honest.
do Smeth. And
Dealer's choice,
do
how
you
you
really want that? No, you don't. You don't want that. None of you fuckers want that. I'll bring it on. I want to hear one of you explain why the fuck you actually want that.
Come on, gang. We're waiting. I know that there's a little delay. There's some lag, if you will. But come on, we have a great guest. We have a lot of you with a lot of opinions that you've been sharing all night in chat, who will take up the sword or the shield, perhaps.
All these
and
wickers.
come attack or defend our boy Smeth here.
Are all these
Smeth
wickers
deserve a better daddy?
Are they all
Smeth
is this?
Am I right, or is Smeth right about parasociality?
You need to.
And your audience can call in too if you want to invite.
All right, if you want to call and go into Whick's Discord server and but if you don't, you fucking embarrass me. This is the Smeth cult. I've decided against so like Max is all like afraid of like having
Is it
a cult.
a sex cult or a death cult? There are only two types of cults: sex or death. Which one is it?
Absolutely sex cult.
Sex cult. Got you. Okay, we got a caller. Hello, you're live.
Hello.
Hi, what you got for us tonight?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to say that, yeah, you're probably playing nice with Smeth, Whick, and Smeth. Your position is untenable.
Let's start with me playing nice. What do you mean?
Well, it's kind of the same example. The way that Mr. Girl presents himself is that if anything he says is true, he's kind of a demonstrable person.
Demonstrable? You mean like a monstrous person? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I've said that though, right? That wasn't me playing nice. I'm think that's my stated position. I don't. Maybe okay. This might be a me problem. It might be my failure to communicate and me simply just assuming everyone understands what I mean. So let me be clear so that everyone knows. I think that Max is manipulative. He's dangerous. And he's a bad person. I don't know if any one specific accusation against him is true or not, but I can only speak to how he has treated not just me, but others that I have seen him interact with, and just the general way he presents himself, carries himself, and his behavior. And that is bad. There you go. Now we can all be free and always know, and people can reference this clip. Now, to your second point for Smeth, what do you think his position is, and why is it untenable?
His position is the radical liberal position that whatever is existing is just an existing by the fact that it exists. And so anything that Mr. Girl does do is legitimate in his little corner of the universe, and thus he is fine.
I don't have the position that is so vague and inaccurate. But I don't believe that things that exist are always good.
Well, okay, well, the issue is that maybe it's why one of the reasons why Whick doesn't want to do it.
If you want me to engage with you, at least like say something that's not a vague straw man of liberalism.
Okay, well, dealing with Mr. Girl, for example, we're going to defend your position would defend that he is not a pedophile. In a broad sense, in the most broad sense, his arguments make sense. The issue is he engages in exactly how people would expect an honest pedophile would engage with things.
Wait, no, he doesn't say that he's a pedophile, though.
And?
So that's if an honest pedophile would say that they are a pedophile. So...
Okay, let's not be pedantic. He obviously didn't mean an honest pedophile, as a pedophile that tells the truth. He meant someone who's actually a pedophile. That's what he meant.
Like a dishonest pedophile. You think he engages like a dishonest pedophile would?
Or, yeah, he's being pedantic, which maybe you could say that's pedophile. But yeah, he's not going to walk out and say, I'm a pedophile, especially because it's laced with so much bad connotation. But if he's going to say, as many people said, that, yeah, those children are hot, that's a problem.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other response to that?
I can't disagree. I mean, like, yeah, he does. He has. It's like, yeah, he is putting himself in a position. He's talking about things that he knows will make people think that he's a pedophile, because he doesn't think that it should make them think that he's a pedophile. So if you think that he's a pedophile, like, it's his fault, and like he's chosen that path. So there's I really can't even disagree. Like you're appropriately saying that.
Yeah. Well, based agreement kings. Okay, that's what we are here today. Anything else from you, Sturmovik? Anything else you got for us?
Well, the other thing about the social manipulation of coming from 15-year-olds in psych classes, does the idea that typically in high schools are the proto stage of where people are going in order to decide their future, such as you join your trade classes so you can become an electrician, or you go into or you double down on PE because you want to be a physiotherapist.
Yeah, I just think that to know that you want to be a therapist means that you are parentified, I believe.
What does it mean if I wanted to be an astronaut when I was growing up?
It means you want to be. It means you conceive yourself as an adventurer, or you want to be the peak. You want to be the best.
Okay,
but a therapist is at service
right now. I think you're trying to make these things into these signs that are full of meaning. These signs and portents.
I'm explaining why you would get.
And I think that
if your position,
it ain't that deep.
If your position is that, because what nobody said in the class they want to be a therapist. Maybe one person. I don't. Most everybody said they want to help people, and so if the reason, if you want to be a therapist and it's just completely vacuous and it's just like saying I want to be an astronaut and you don't even understand what it means to be an astronaut, that's one thing. But these are people that said I want to help people, and the reason I'm learning psychology is so I can help people. And I just believe that means that they are parentified if they see themselves in that position at 15 years old.
I don't know. I think that's way too, like, again, I won't relitigate this, but look, I think it's mostly that they just see therapists as helping people. They want to help people. So they want to be a therapist. They may be wrong that that's what therapists do. They may be wrong about why they want it, right? They just may be wrong in general, but they're 15. They're not geniuses. Sturmovix, thanks for calling in. I appreciate you, buddy. We're gonna let you go.
Sure.
Okay. See you later. Hello, you're live.
Do a better job.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Do a better job for about what?
Do a better job than Cernovich or whoever the fuck.
Okay, here's my contribution. I said this on stream because we watched your guys' stream for just a second. I think when boys are looking for role models, Nico chooses Bradley Barton in Fighters, and you choose Max because he's edgy enough to understand you. And that's just how it goes. Max Karson is still blocked on my end. I have no desire to talk to this man. I don't think he's a good person, but who cares what Brittany thinks? Okay? Who cares what I think? But sometimes I think bad people can be good role models for what not to become.
Like
yeah,
a
I've learned
cautionary tale, if you will.
his specifically related to you, and I made kind of a joke earlier, but his whole thing about he's so terrified of making a cult. I've pathologized, because I've thought, especially in writing this, I've pathologized him so much, and I'm like, that is his mental illness. And when he said that about you, I think, and so me making a joke about it, there's no way to be a content creator without kind of making a cult of personality. That's kind of the point. And and so I need to not beat myself up about that. There's absolutely not something I don't want to learn. There's a lot of things I do learn from his mistakes. Do you think he hates himself? Whick doesn't.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen someone hate themselves as much as him.
Oh, I'm uncomfortable around him for that reason.
Because you think he hates it? Hold on. I guess first question for you, Brittany. Did you read Mr.
Yes.
Smeth's article here?
Yes.
I'm just curious your thoughts in broad strokes.
So I have a general thought about Smeth, and that is I am watching art in real life, and I am here to be a witness and an observer to it. So I feel like I am watching somebody perform his life, and I'm here to witness it. So my audience and we do review Smeth stuff, and we kind of see it as okay, let's see what this means to him. So we're kind of more observers, I think, as people.
Interesting.
You're A-logging me.
That's I don't know if I think I'm curious if Smeth will accuse you of having kid gloves and failing to honestly engage with him like he did to me earlier today. When you say that Max hates himself, that implies a level of honesty in his content that I don't feel is there. One of the problems I had with my interactions with Mr. Girl is I realized that I could not trust this man. That it is not something that I cannot. I worry that it is all an act, but he is using that act as a shield to say the true thing, but with a veneer of this is just a thing, this is just a gimmick, and he rides that line. And the way he treats others, I feel, is manipulative. It's emotionally manipulative, and he does that for the purpose of performance. So this angle of him being self-deprecating, self-hating, self-loathing, all these things, I wonder if it's just that, an angle. I don't know. That's my thoughts.
I mean, I don't think you can be without the performance. I think even when I try to be as authentic as possible, I perform. Like, I just think it comes natural when you know people are watching and you're sort of trying to convey something. I think Max tries really hard to be honest, but I think it's a catch-22. How do you create art and be honest? I think this illusion that like artistry is honest is sort of part of the mythos around it. So I would say that Max is deeply insecure. He's so insecure enough that I think he makes things up about himself to hide the truth of himself. And I think that is the salaciousness of him putting out his content. But I think, much like Jordan Peterson, they're so afraid. They become like warped by the fear. And I tend to be around people who are less afraid because I think fear, like a dog, it will bite you when it doesn't mean to and it feels cornered. And I think Max feels cornered a lot. And so I see like a lot of fear in him, too much fear for me to engage with. Because I think like you, Whick, I sense like a maliciousness or a dishonesty there, but only because I think he's afraid, not because I think he always intends it, which is worse. It's better to be with a maliciously intentional person. At least I know what to do with them. But Max, I can't predict him, so I don't engage.
Yeah, a nervous dog is most likely to bite their person that they feel most secure about with the person that their safety blanket.
Fear is a mind killer, as they would say in Dune. But I don't necessarily disagree with you. Like, I think there is fear there. I think he's a human. We're all a human. Human's gonna human. But but I think that the way his fear interacts with his content, again, I think he may be dishonest because he is afraid, but that doesn't change the dishonesty, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it makes him dangerous, right? I think like fear makes you dangerous, unintentionally or intentionally. The road to hell is paved in good intentions, and I think Max has too many good intentions.
Yeah, he does. So, like, here's an example of when I noticed this exact kind of thing happening. Like, in complete succession, it was blatant in the open. One time I was having a conversation with him, and he was talking about having kids. And he was saying that if he has kids, off the cuff, he just said, like, oh, they will be representatives of the Mr. Girl brand, so then they're gonna have some. And I was like, that goes against everything you've ever fucking said about, like, and I was like, and he's like, yeah, that's retarded. But he got to that place. It wasn't like he was made that up. He has a strong power of rationalizing things, and yeah, I think that off the cuff, what you're talking about happens with him a lot more. So in his like supporter streams, he says shit manically, and it'll trigger the fuck out of me when he does this shit. It just makes him sound crazy. But like, I think when he like make a video or something, I think he's processed it to the point where it's not just a rash. I think he's done the rationalization, put it there, looked at it, reevaluated like a couple times, and I think when he actually produces content, it's not like that.
Oh man, I do kind of look. I'm glad he won't talk to me anymore, but I'm kind of sad he won't talk to me anymore. At the same time,
really,
yeah.
Would you talk to him again?
Yes, I would. In public or in private. I don't believe in burning bridges forever, except for. There are certain things, but just being mean to me on a stream isn't enough. But the thing is, again, I don't trust him to be honest with the conversation. So it would be, I don't know if we could have anything productive, but I do want to know, like, I'm curious. I want to know why he acts in certain ways. Like, for example, one of the things that maybe it's weird to say, but it still bothers me that this idea that I was trying to set someone up, right, or set him up during our last and final conversation, that I was somehow manipulating him into coming off as a paranoid schizophrenic, which he did. I just don't know how he thinks that.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't get how we get from point A to point B. I want to know the disconnect. That's all.
Someone just super chatted me $20 and they gave their take. They said Max feels like someone who can't balance performing as an artist and grounded conversations, and if pressed he retreats into meta again and again. Good example is the Shaylin convo. She forced him to take the interview seriously.
Mm.
The Shaylin convo when about the Destiny report, is that what it was?
No, I think it's the Shaylin, the one with the doll review. Or maybe
Okay.
Oh, that one.
real
that's
doll
usually the
review
one
or
people
whatever.
are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what else did you have? Like, I'm curious if you watched part of our conversation. What part did you tune in on?
Oh, we just tuned in for a second, and he was saying that you weren't going hard enough on him, and you were saying, "No, I respect you enough not to like pull punches and stuff like that." And the truth is like that's even a performance in and of itself. Like I don't know that we on stream can be truly appropriately vulnerable with one another without realizing it could get parasocial or inappropriate with either the audience or ourselves. Like it's a really difficult thing we're doing here.
Well,
Do
that's
you-
something. Okay, that you don't do this a lot. Sometimes you do, but I think the best way to be vulnerable on stream is to be aggression, because it's a very honest and vulnerable thing to be aggressive.
But
Sure.
if you're making yourself be aggressive in order to be honest, I don't think you're being honest.
Well, yeah, if you can't fake it, well, I guess you could, but it's a really weird.
Like honest aggression.
It's really weird to fake aggression.
Is
Well,
it?
I think people no, like we were watching Caleb Hammer earlier, and he does this thing where he goes, like he gets really like, and he pretends, and I'm like, he's performing. You do it, Smeth. I saw you the other day. You turned up your music in a way, and you're like, yeah, and you were like
Well, yeah.
aggressing.
Well, when I'm like monologuing and shit, it's definitely very performative. Yeah.
I will tell you, you know, when I've lost it, when I say something, I'm like, and my audience is like, oh, like, cancel her. She said it. Like I notice I'm losing it when I say a word I don't mean to. I'm like. Ooh, and I'm like, they got me, bro. They got me. Like in those moments, I'm being like loose because I'm being like, I feel my emotions coming. I'm like, ooh, evoke your free will, Brittany, relax. And I'm like, ooh. But like, you know, you're really in your moment. You're like, you're feeling all these feelings. You know, a bunch of people are watching, and then you say something. You're like, my bad. I think that's authentic, but like, it's also unfiltered, you know. But it's also not authentic because I speak in ways, and I'm sure we all do that. Like, I don't mean.
Yes.
When I'm trying to be
don't-
mean, especially.
Yeah, I don't know if having a filter means you're dishonest though, or
Yeah.
disingenuous. I think that again, I was telling Smeth this. I don't think you have. In the heat of the moment, we can say things so we don't actually mean because we're
Right.
angry, we're upset, we're sad. So we say something in a way because we're snapping, but that's not actually what we feel or actually what we think or actually what we mean to communicate. And because the emotions kind of are driving us instead of us driving them, I don't know if I would say that it's more genuine, but
Well,
I don't know.
But that's because my way of thinking about this.
Well, say your piece. But I have a question for Brittany before she goes. I don't want to keep her on too
All right,
long.
my way of thinking about this is like that happens when you are unable to confront your feelings before they become like pent up and then blow up. Like, so I was just noticing that this about like anti-Semitism. When you say that word, you think of conspiracy theories and stuff, but nobody ever talks about anti-Semitism as far as just minor psychological biases where I just have a negative like opinion of Jewish people like subconsciously. Nobody ever talks about that, and I think that's the reason that it always comes out as this big. No, all the Jews are doing this. It's because nobody is willing to talk about their actual feelings until it gets to that point.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I just think sometimes if you have a group with siblings, like your siblings are just like poking you and you're like, ooh, and you just like want to blow up because you're like, bro, why are you doing this? Why like, I think it's sometimes like that on the internet where people are like poking and poking and poking. So I would even say like when I'm hangry, I'm not myself.
Fair enough.
Okay, like I don't know if I'm always myself when I'm hangry, but I think my truest self is when I'm in symbiosis with my feelings and my thought process. When I'm actually like processing everything, I'm not tired, I can listen, I can be compassionate, you know.
It's
But, you know,
funny how many states that we have that like fundamentally change us in a way that we have actual terms for it, like hangry, or for men they have post-nut clarity we talk about because our minds are clouded when we're
Who's the real
aroused.
me? The horny me or the post nut me?
The post-nut.
That's the question. That's the question.
Well, now I have two questions for you, Brittany. My audience is saying something and I'm curious about, but I'll ask my question first. Settle an argument for us, please. So earlier in the call, Smeth and I were arguing about his relationship with Max. I said that I worry that his relationship is parasocial with Max. What do you think about Smeth and Max's relationship in regards to parasociality? Go ahead.
It is a little difficult for me to say because I don't actually know how deep it goes from my understanding.
Hello? Uh-oh. She just frozen for me? Is she frozen for you?
Yeah, she's frozen for me. Oh no, she just said that she disagrees with you.
I don't think she said that at all. That's unfortunate. Gang, I had another question for her. Well, damn. We'll give her a minute. We'll give her like 30 seconds, right? And hope Brittany comes back. But if Brittany doesn't come back, we'll see her next week, gang. She's coming on my show about probably the most massive topic that we've ever had on this show. We've been talking about Sydney Sweeney's boobies. Okay.
You are frozen for me now too. I think it might be a Discord thing. I think Discord is they need to pay some more fucking developers.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, gang. Well, I don't think Brittany's coming back.
Yeah. Okay.
I think my internet tuned.
Are you there?
Yeah. What? Can you guys hear me?
No. Okay, I ranted beautifully for nothing. Okay, so I was just saying that I don't know exactly what's going on, but I think it's like a mentor-mentee relationship. So as long as the boundaries are in place and it's good, it's fine. Because I think even with mentor-mentee relationships, there's parasociality. I think I do not worry about Smeth. I do not worry about Smeth becoming Max. I think as long as he's self-aware about what he's doing, learning who he is through Max, it won't happen. And it's interesting to choose Max as a mentor, but who is edgy enough, like Max, to understand Smeth is the question. Because I think there's something in Mr. Girl that is Smeth's warning to the self. And I think sometimes we need those warnings. I do. I really don't want Smeth to turn out like Max. And I think sometimes in order not to do that, you kind of have to face that demon.
Yeah, I actually don't want to turn out like Max too.
Yeah.
Facing the Demon. That would be a great title for your tribute album to your parasocial daddy. Facing the Demon, and then you can have a
inevitably the next one will be the Mr. Girl report, where I catalog all of his
all the abuses.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second question, and you can answer this or not. People are talking about this in chat. Did you say Destiny's son should have been aborted?
No, but they heard it that way, which was very interesting that they decided to take that opinion of me. They just don't like me, bro.
What
I didn't
did
say
you
that.
Say?
Destiny.
Oh, hold on. Fuck. Okay, Discord crashed. It finally finished crashing. I'm coming back. Hold on. It's coming back. Hold on. I'm gonna have to have her repeat herself. All right, let me back in there.
Destiny was commenting on how this woman named Daisy, I don't know if you followed the Fresh and Fit thing, but Fresh,
No.
he got a woman named Daisy allegedly pregnant.
Okay.
Destiny was criticizing her as like a bad parent. I made a joke because I think Destiny, in my opinion, just an opinion, you can disagree, is not what I would call a good dad, but good enough, I guess, but like I would call him a bad dad, but that's my opinion. And so I made a joke that, about a greater issue, about suffering and children, and I made a joke that is rooted in like a tongue-in-cheek, who'd have been better off like aborted kids whose fathers don't tuck them in at night. That type of like tongue-in-cheek idea. Now, to be fair, I have very strong standards for parenting, and most people don't qualify, but most people are good enough. And I think people just wanted to take me out of context because honestly, I don't think they're as pro-choice as me, maybe. But like even Steven himself has said he would have aborted his kid now if he was pregnant now. So I don't think it's
say that.
Yep, it's quoted. There's a clip. Tomfoolery has it. I have it. We all have it. It's on Twitter. That's why I know Steven. I don't say things just to say things. I know Steven's stances. That's why I know he wouldn't mind if I said a joke like that. He said it about his own son. So I know that he knows. Wait, I want to clarify. I don't want to take Destiny out of context. Him and I agree with the same thing. We're not talking about the kid who's now alive. We're talking about the child who we didn't know, who would have been in the womb, who would have been a very complicated situation and abortion would have made sense, right? We're not talking about the child that is alive. He even made this argument to the pro-lifers. We're not talking about the child that is alive.
Man,
we're talking about we're going back in time.
Have to look at everything that was said.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see any.
Well, I think your biggest mistake, I think, was saying that you specifically said something like it's not you're not speaking the same language as me. I think what you should have said it would have been way easier for you if you had just said like it was obviously humor. It wasn't literal.
Well, of course it's not literal, but I think that's why I was confused if everyone was like pro-life, because usually it's a pro-life argument, like oh, you would abort your kid who's alive. They're like, no, obviously we're not talking about the kid we know. We're always talking about the kids that would have been. That's why abortion is a choice. You make a choice on whether or not the kid would have been. But I think I didn't realize like maybe this group is pro-life or something. But obviously even Destiny isn't talking about the kid he knows. He's talking about if he could go back in time and he was pro-choice at the time, he would have had an abortion. But not the kid we know, right? It's like when your parents ask you like, oh, what if I had aborted you? It's like, well, I wouldn't have known. So like, it wouldn't matter. Like, why are you asking me that? I'm pro-choice, you know? Why would it have mattered? Okay. So anyways, I think they just took me out of context because they thought it'd be funny. And, you know, there's a campaign of misunderstanding Brittany.
Fair enough.
There being a campaign about misunderstanding you is why I think using the specific language that you just don't understand, you don't speak my language. It's like that'll trigger the fuck. And maybe it's good, but those words will make them be like, no, she's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is what it is. Like people started spreading rumors of like I can't have kids and all these other things, and like none of that is true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not equipped to have. I thought this was just a throwaway question, but apparently there's drama.
It was a whole thing, but it's okay. Anyways, thank you for having me on. Yes, I just wanted to give my 2 cents.
And we'll see you guys. We'll see you Wednesday. So
yes, see you Wednesday. Okay, bye guys.
Man, see, this is one of those things. Is that I don't follow a lot of the going on of the interpersonal workings of streaming, right? Like. I'm very rarely attuned to who is mad at who's beefing with who. Now, some I know, because I've been here long enough that I can't help but know. But a lot of it, I don't know until someone makes me aware of it.
I just happened to be watching that when that happened.
Fair enough.
Fair
enough. Do we have time for one more caller, perhaps? One more caller. If you want to call in and you want to talk to me and Smeth, by all means. If not, I understand. Mantis, I don't know. Fairy Queen, I saw you in chat if you want to jump in for a minute. Mantis is here if you want to jump in for a minute.
Which one of you fuckers wants to come and try to fucking gaslight me?
One more, gang, and then we can end this disaster. We can abort the stream, okay?
Just like Destiny's kid.
Wow. You don't have to go there. You don't have to make those jokes. I don't know.
Okay, just like Brittany Simon's kid.
Yeah, even if it is a joke, one of those things is like you don't bring people's kids into things. You just don't, right? Like I don't like that. I don't know the context of what they were talking about or why, right? I just
abort this stream just like Mr. Girl aborted Smeth.
He didn't abort you. It's weird. We got one more. Well.
Hello.
Hello.
1 sec.
Oh, I know that. I know this fucker.
Okay, your camera is not working.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. I gotta just take the actual camera and then turn my light on. Oh yeah, it's gonna be dark. I forgot. But whatever. That's not the important part. I'm not actually here to talk about most of the bulk of the conversation. I got super triggered during a lot of this because of I hate it. Really brought out the things that I hate the most in this space. I hate when people say something's weird. I hate when people say parasocial. Just say what you fucking mean. Weird is the most triggering thing ever. It's like, I want to condemn you. I want to say that you're doing something bad or wrong, but I'm going to mask it in the most vague language possible so that nobody can ever actually pin me down on anything, but I want to condemn you. I hate it. Weird is the worst. Parasocial is the second worst. Describe the thing that's pissing you off and say that. It is the most, and I think everybody does this and I hate it, but it's such a cowardly way of criticizing somebody. And every time I hear it, I get so triggered. I'm just like, why can't you just say, I think that this is wrong. I think this is fucked up because of this. Like parasociality, it's not really a spectrum. You can say you have a healthy parasocial relationship. You can say that you have a parasitic parasocial relationship, or you can say that you have a mutually beneficial one. You can describe it. If you have to use the word, you can at least describe it in a constructive way that makes sense to where everybody knows what people are talking about. And I'm not saying that you're particularly at fault for doing this. I'm mad at everybody for using this language, because it's not constructive, and all it does is lead to a 45-minute conversation about what the fuck you're talking about, and then we never actually get to real criticism. It drives me fucking insane.
Do you not think?
And I was driving.
Criticism though about
it took 45 minutes, and there was little tiny bits thrown in here and there, so that where if I actually want to get to like an understanding of what was really said in like the criticism, I have to like rewatch it and put all these little nuggets together. But it could have been so much more clear and coherent.
I don't like the word triggered. What does that even mean?
It means that I'm driving and listening to this and I'm getting mad. Triggered is pretty clear. I think triggered is pretty clear. If you need me to explain it, I can tell you. It's not though. You had to say it's a spectrum too.
I didn't have now you need to because Smeth was being obtuse. That's why I had to.
You even said it's not always bad.
You have a parasocial, yeah. But in the context, I'm worried about you because of your parasocial relationship with Max, who I think is bad. I think that communicates enough to have an actual conversation.
Do you not understand why I think that it's problematic to use it?
No, I do understand. I just disagree. I think that you are taking your triggeredness from hearing the word. I think your brain turned off. And I think you're like, word bad. I have to go yell at Whick about this. And that's why
it's not just word bad. Is that it automatically signals something negative to people, but you're not really saying why that it is, because I think that there's plenty of people who are parasocial with streamers, and it's fucking fine. Like, it's not going to hurt them in any way. It's not going to do a goddamn thing. In fact, I'm just about as parasocial with fucking Goku when I watch Dragon Ball Z as I am with the majority of streamers that I am. I'm not being hurt by Toriyama because he made Dragon Ball Z, okay? Like, I have emotional connection when I see him get hurt in a fight. I'm like, oh shit, I'll scream at the TV sometimes. I'll get into it. But I'm not going to be hurt by this, just like I'm not going to be hurt by a streamer.
Honestly, like, the thing that makes my relationship with Max scary or dangerous would be that it's actually not parasocial. That's when, like, if he's a bad mentor, or bad role model, that makes more sense.
You guys, again, oh man, this is gonna be the conversation we have, huh? Okay, I'm here for
Who do you think's more likely to hurt you, Whick? Somebody that you have that you actually rely on for things, that you actually turn to and you're open and vulnerable with privately, or somebody who it's like you watch a stream of? Who do you think has more opportunity to manipulate you in worse ways?
That is why we don't necessarily call it a problematic parasocial relationship when you are simply watching someone stream. It's the interaction and the illusion of connectiveness which streamers give, and then there are certain ways they do that by providing private chats, by reaching out to you in DMs, by setting themselves up as a father figure to you.
So you
or
think
a mentor,
that? Yeah. So you
right,
think that my
increases the bad parasociality.
So you think that my relationship? You think that my
it.
relationship with him is an illusion that he's creating to manipulate me?
I don't know why he's doing it, or his or if he's being malicious.
Okay, listen. Okay, this is something.
We just got so much more.
Here's some information. Okay, I think that I am like his. If Max if hell was real, I would be his demon. Okay. I am like stoking flame under his ass. I'm like fucking shoving spikes up his ass. Like everything. I'm torturing his fucking ass. Okay. And like, so, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's just like guilt speaking, but I think that, I don't think that him having these boundaries with me and establishing this relationship with like this, I think it is a torment to him. And I don't think it's like he's getting much out of it.
He doesn't have to get something out of it for it to be a bad thing, right? It's the incentives that are at play. It's the establishing of and again, I wouldn't be worried, like I told Smeth, I wouldn't be worried if you had a parasocial relationship like that with someone who I considered a good person.
I got that from you.
And I bet you wouldn't even call it parasocial in that context. I 100% believe you would not say parasocial if you believe it. And so really parasocial is just a proxy. It's a stand-in. Just like when Dravi said, when people say parasocial, it really usually means like nothing really. And especially in this context, it really means nothing. Your parasocial was a stand-in for I don't like Max and he's dangerous. Which is fine. I respect that.
You're a blind simp who's gonna spend too much money, but then everything else sort of extends out from this status. But also, Whick, you gave a much more clear picture in the last 3 minutes of what your issue is when you're talking about parasociality in responding to me criticizing you using parasociality as this blanket term. And that's kind of my point. I think if you come out if you avoid using this term and you come out and you say the shit that you just got done saying, we would have had a much more interesting and a much more in-depth conversation about the issues way sooner, instead of like having all this unnecessary conversation about what is or isn't parasociality and like whether it is good.
But I think
I listened to you guys talk about it for 15 minutes before you even said that like it can be good.
I think that conversation about parasociality is important to have because of the space that we inhabit and the fact that there is a lot of this going around. And the bad parasitic parasociality thrives when you are unable to call it out for worry.
I'm just a fucking crazed fan.
Well, you're crazed, but not necessarily because of Max. I think
do you think
you
it's
would be
important
crazed
to have
regardless.
every time that you think that somebody has a parasocial relationship to have
the whole
this
point
conversation?
Of this conversation was to talk about his article and my worry about Smeth using or putting Max as his parasocial daddy. And so,
let me rephrase this. I think you're better than just having to use these kinds of phrases. I think that you're smart, and I think that if you really wanted to talk to Smeth and get across your concerns,
right, because
saying I think you're parasocial is just going to make it so much more messy than it should be, and it's going to detract you from actually trying to help.
Yes, because Whick, you said that you don't think that parasocial is always bad. So if your criticism hinges on you saying that parasocial is, because your criticism absolutely did hinge on, but it's parasocial and implying that that's bad, but also I don't think parasocial is always bad, so you never actually got to what the actual bad thing is that makes it bad within your own argument.
There was little tiny pieces throughout like 3 hours, like I'm saying, because there was so much hinged on that word. If I think that Smeth has an unhealthy relationship with Mr. Girl because of some parasocial thing, I'd say like, look, I think because you were a fan of his and you called in on his show and then you started streaming, I do see that there's a big power imbalance, and it makes me worried that you see him as a father figure, because I think that you're going to be blinded by some of the things that could end up harming you because of the amount of respect and admiration that you have for him.
Yeah, and I got beef with him
that without saying parasociality.
I blame him if that isn't at all true, and there is a power imbalance because it's because of him, because he's making sure that it happens. I need to fucking fight with him about that. But yeah, that's
Okay.
But this is my point. Do you see how I gave very clear examples of harm that can be being done there that we don't have to talk about pedantically for 30 minutes in order to get to the root of?
We didn't have to. It's a choice that he made.
That's not the question that I asked, though. I said, do you see how I address direct things that are...
You said the same thing without using the word. Yes, I see that.
But it cut to the heart of it.
yeah. But the thing is,
it would require Smeth to respond to those specific criticisms that would make...
yeah, because before
I just made this up.
Because before what you were saying,
up.
you were saying that before what you were saying was that parasocial can be both good and bad, but your criticism hinged on parasocial being bad, but you didn't explain why. So you weren't actually providing the criticism; you were alluding to a criticism that you weren't even fucking giving.
Both of you are pedantic and frustrating, and I'm going
pedantic.
to fight you
Pedantic
both
just
at the
means
same
just
time.
actually like engaging it like intelligibly in this context.
Intelligibly.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not just you; it's how everybody does this. In this conversation happens, and it seems like people.
I think you're taking a lot of the frustrations you have from previous conversations and previous ways people.
No, it was me frustrated listening to this conversation.
Look who's mind reading now, Whick.
I'm going to do it because I think it's...
I was screaming in my car, like, why can't he just say what the fucking problem is? And then weird is the worst one ever, because it means whatever each individual person in the audience doesn't like about this person, they can map onto weird. And that one drives
But when
me
I
nuts,
say
too.
weird, it's an invitation for you to ask what's weird about it.
Well, then why don't you just fucking say it without making me
Because
ask?
it's more engaging to have a back and forth, and
because
again,
it paints me.
especially when it's...
It feels dishonest to me. It
It's not
feels
dishonest. It's a way, because again, as you probably have noticed, I have a limited amount of words I could say before one of you fucks interrupts me. And so using short little phrases before, instead of going off on a 15-minute exclamation, is kind of how I have to play the game, okay?
like I said, I'm not specifically targeting you out here, but weird doesn't just mean strange, because strange isn't bad. When people say, I think it's, well, don't you think
weird.
That's at least weird?
Weird. It gives me the
bad.
ick. It gives me the ick. It's weird. Like it's so cringe when people say the ick. Like it's just, I don't like it, but you don't say why. It's just.
And like, I pretty much don't like people that aren't weird. If you're not weird, then you're not interesting to me.
I think weird's good in a lot of
ways.
But it can be bad.
Right. But it's
the
always
thing
used
is,
this
when you
space
use
as a criticism.
Yeah, exactly. So when you use both of these words and you're saying they could be good or they could be bad, but the criticism you're giving is literally using the word and saying it's bad. So you're saying it could be good and could be bad, but I mean that it's bad. So you're not actually providing what you're saying. So I can't respond to it. It makes it impossible to respond to.
Because when I said it, it was a preface to me explaining why that I thought it was parasocial and why I thought that parasociality was harmful to you, but we couldn't get past go.
It's parasocial because it's weird and it's
that's
weird.
Why I did try to say, what word would you like me to use? And then you got mad at me because you're just going to mean parasocial.
So what you just said.
Kinda, yeah.
But what you just said.
I don't want the word to get in the way of the conversation.
But what you just said was
we're
that
having to fight about it more.
Parasocial can be both good or bad, and you're trying to explain why it's. So you're saying that it's bad. So to explain why it's bad, you say that it's weird, which weird can also be something that's both good or bad. So you really didn't fucking illuminate anything.
Say what word you want me to use. You're saying criticize yourself for me.
Say one more time.
When you say what word do you want me to use, what you're really saying is you disagree with my criticism, so criticize yourself for me, which is...
What I'm trying to do is avoid a situation where you're mad because I used a word, and so I want to be able to communicate...
But you've literally done that. You've created the situation.
You're turning your brains off because I used a word you didn't like.
No, it's not that you've used a word that we didn't like. You're it's like I said. You say that parasocial can be a good thing or a bad thing. You said that weird can be a good thing or a bad thing. So when your whole argument hinges on parasocial being a bad thing and you're not actually saying why and what the actual criticism is, then your answer to that is it's weird, which weird also can be a good thing or a bad thing. So you still haven't actually explained why you think it's a bad thing.
I have to establish that there is a parasocial relationship at play to show why it is bad.
But parasocial, you've said, doesn't mean it's bad. But you
will just retreat into, well, it it doesn't matter because it doesn't.
No,
it's not at
like
play.
if you had said what Drazi said, like you would not have had to do it.
What
and I would not.
Drazi said he just made up. Those aren't my criticisms of it.
But that it is an
But
example.
if I had criticisms, that's how I'd lay it out.
It was an example.
So like, wait, I'm gonna give you an actual criticism that is targeted at you. Earlier, you said that you have things that you don't like to share, that you are scared to share with people because they won't. You're afraid that they'll just say the positive thing to you, right?
Yep.
I'm afraid of people asking me to give them feedback about things because people always take. If somebody asks me that, I think it's very special, and I do give them constructive criticism. And I'm always afraid that people are going to get pissed off at me when I do that, but I do it anyways. And I came in here to give constructive criticism because as somebody who watches your shit, and I watch Smeth shit all the time, I'm saying that this is maddening, and I think it makes it a very frustrating conversation to listen to when I'm very interested about the concerns that you have with Smeth. And all you did is like, no, I need to do this. And like, you're not really engaging with like the idea that perhaps it is more constructive to go about it this way. And it just seems like you're super pissed off that I was pointing out how like these aren't really that productive. And I just think you guys would have had.
I think that the reason
meatier
it's not
conversation.
productive. So first of all, people are saying that your mic is peaking really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Fair enough.
I was
No,
close.
it's fine.
Is that
It's all
better?
good. Peaking mic is industry standard for some of us. But I will. I will say to you that I'm frustrated, right? I understand why you're frustrated, but my frustration is that you guys have made this word into the topic.
Because
That's
you.
my issue.
Okay, let's explain this again. Like, maybe you can get this
You
through
didn't
your
have to.
fucking
It's
thick
a
skull. Let us get this through your fucking thick skull. Parasocial, by your definition, can be both good or bad. But you're saying,
Yes.
but your argument is it's parasocial, therefore it's bad. So you have not told me why you think it's
were
bad.
taking
What?
the
So
start of my
fuck.
argument?
Excuse me. Wait. I let you fucking talk. I know you accused. You're supposed to accuse both of us of both not being incapable of letting you talk, but we both did let you talk multiple times. You're saying parasocial is both a good thing or a bad thing, and but you're literally saying it's bad because it's parasocial. So you have not explained why it's bad whatsoever. And then when pressed on that, your explanation is it's weird, which also can be both a good thing or a bad thing. So you still have not explained why it is bad whatsoever. And then you're saying, oh, I was doing that because I don't want to say words that trigger you. But the reason that both me and Drazi are triggered by those words is because you have failed to give the criticism at all. And then you're saying, well, what should I say? What do you think I should say? Because you want me to give you, because you want me to make the criticism of myself for you instead of making it your fucking self because you're a coward.
Parasocial. You took issue, so I changed the word to weird. You took issue,
Yeah,
and then
the issue.
changing words.
I'm sorry.
Then I asked you what word term you would use.
I'm sorry.
because I never got
My words.
I never got to the.
I'm
point
sorry. My
where I
words
was
are not.
able to explain why I thought it was wrong because you kept challenging me on my word.
I kept trying. No, it wasn't your word use. It was
Conversation.
not your word use. It was that you were not
Yes.
giving. It
No,
was.
yes.
It was the same
Maybe I
criticism.
should have used a better word.
So
Maybe
make
I
it.
shouldn't have
Let
given
me
you
get
this
it. Let me get it through.
to avoid the topic.
I
but
clearly-
apparently I have fucked up
Clearly-
because I've given you this excuse.
I should have been
to
using
avoid
hollow
talking
points.
About the topic.
I should have been using hollow points because your skull is even thicker than I fucking thought. So the point is that when your
First,
your
you gotta
whole
get your
argument
aim correct.
when
You can't even hit the
when you're
topic
so
below my
when your
head,
whole argument
okay?
is so contingent on parasocial is the fundamental thing, but
not
you're not explaining.
contingent.
But it was you were
can
saying
use a whole
you were saying that we needed to
term.
agree on this one fucking word, and you're the one who's saying that I'm the one upset
A
about words.
relationship
You're the one who the
is
core,
parasocial.
yes, the core of your whole criticism is
What
that
did
it
you
is
ask Brittany?
your core of the whole criticism. Yeah, exactly. You asked her if it's parasocial because your whole criticism is that it's parasocial, but you also say parasocial can be good, and the type of relationship that I said
won't
that I
use
had
the
with him
word
is
that's
mentorship.
incorrect.
That mentorship, and you said, well, mentorship can be good parasocial, but yours is bad, and you still have not told me why it's bad, so you really haven't fucking said a single goddamn thing. Then you keep asking me to criticize myself for you instead of just fucking saying it yourself.
You have a relationship with Max that is unhealthy for a variety of reasons, and the fact that he has set himself up as a mentor and a father figure, establishing one-way boundaries that don't exist in the other way, is wrong because
Okay.
he's a bad person. It's unhealthy, and you know what we call that, gang? parasocial.
That's not what parasocial
Parasocial is
means.
meaningless without additional context.
But all of that,
which is why I tried to give the additional context, but you guys kept arguing me about my word choice.
If you had said it, I was trying to make space for you to give me that fucking exactly all of that, and it took so long to fucking get that out of you. It's like fucking pulling teeth.
It doesn't have to take that long if you just give me some room, gang.
All right, Whick, when you have somebody on and you know the guest, I think one of the things that's super easy to know about Smeth is that people are gonna lob parasocial at him all the time. Like this is like one of the most.
Did you catch the point
common...
where I say I don't quite understand Smeth, and that's a thing?
Okay, but he's shown you throughout this entire conversation that he has issue with it. Switching it to another meaningless word, like at that point, then you just go into your specific criticisms. You don't have to break down what parasocial means.
I did, but you're still talking about parasociality.
No, I'm talking about my issue with this being a criticism of somebody, without, it's really just a thing that you put on the front of what you want to say. I don't know if it's to like test the person or what, but you're not actually giving any real criticism that the person can respond to, because you can claim anybody's parasocial to like fucking anybody if you're talking about people on the internet, and it doesn't really mean anything. Like you and I have a parasocial relationship, so this is something that was going through my head there. So Tuna Chip and I, we met online. I talked to him for the first time on stream. We have a parasocial relationship. However, he came over to my house. We hung out. He slept on my couch and cuddled with my dog. At what point, and him driving to my house, meeting me, meeting my wife, petting my dog, at what point did this stop being parasocial and become just a regular IRL friendship?
Less parasocial, but unless you're hanging out all the time or on a regular basis, not all the time.
At what rate do we have to hang out in real life before it's not parasocial anymore?
If you're asking for a specific line, I don't know. I can't give you a number, but just like pornography, I know when I see it, gang. Okay, and that's good enough for the legal system. It's good enough for me. It's good enough for you.
If he becomes my neighbor and we hang out every single day, and then we move away and we only talk online after that, did we somehow become parasocial only again? It's such a weird, blobby term that it's almost silly when you really examine it.
You don't. It's only silly because you're making it so. Like you are.
I think everybody makes it so when they use it.
Yeah. Like and subscribe and
like, subscribe, and give us money, gang. Because gang, this is what we're here for. But to the point, at the end of the day, I think that their relationship is worrisome. I am worried about it. Do I have to define worry? Worry could be so vague,
I think that's
meaningless.
No,
that's so much better than almost everything that was said for like 3 hours.
It's what I started with.
Well,
I said I'm worried about you, Smeth.
But you're worried because it's parasocial, and the reason that the parasocial is bad is because it's worrying. So
Creole says 100 bits. Creole for 100 bits. Here's $1. Ask Smeth why he is incapable of accepting criticism. Smeth, why are you incapable of accepting criticism?
Okay, I'm capable of accepting criticism, but my title of my stream is "Watch Me Resist Getting Gaslit," and it's pretty accurate.
Gaslit.
But I put a question mark. Because I wasn't sure that was what was happening. But I was right.
You're the first one to get the question mark, I think.
Do you think I've been gaslighting you?
Yes.
Why?
There was a point.
Because
at what point? Well, hold on. Smeth, shut up. I'm sorry I asked you. Drazi.
I appreciate. I don't want to answer.
Do you think that I was gaslighting him? And gaslighting, talking about words that you use that don't really mean anything.
And I will say too that I am very pedantic with words. I'm like obsessively pedantic with words. There was a point in the conversation where I think I would say too, when you switched it over and then you asked Smeth to describe his own criticism, like basically you're saying like you have to say that there's something wrong now. I thought that was you're trying to convince him of that like what he thinks is going on isn't going on. And that's basically what you were attempting to do
Are
the
you
entire
talking
time.
about the time where I asked him to say a thing that he thought Max, a part of their relationship that was good and a part that was bad? Are you talking about that part?
No. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I remember saying out loud when I was driving, this is actual gaslighting, but I don't, my brain's not super sharp on remembering it. I drove for 5 hours. I had to go visit my wife in the hospital. It was a rough day. So I had a lot going on. But I remember saying out loud, that's like actually gaslighting right there when I was driving. So I'll agree with Smeth that there was, well, I don't know if Smeth said that. I'm sorry. I'll agree with the title that there was a bit of it. I'm not saying it's intentional. I think that people just sometimes do that.
I think people are just like that. I think people like that, especially streamers. And I'm really proud of my Watch Me Resist Getting Gaslit series. This is part 3. And
although sometimes Smeth does use it incorrectly.
I'm not. No, you're wrong. Okay, look, gaslighting actually is a broad term, and it doesn't have to be intentional.
$2 from Origin of Logos to say bring me on. Do you guys want me to bring Origin on for a minute? And then we'll end.
Okay, but yeah, let's do it. But brief. Like, I don't want to, but yeah, let's do it.
Brief, Origin. Okay, Origin, now's your time to shine, buddy. You got $2 worth of time.
The issue not understanding what Whick means by the parasocial shit. Like, are you guys just like...
Okay, so let me explain. Okay, here's the issue. Like, okay, so hollow points are fucking loaded. Okay, motherfucker. Okay, so parasocial, Whick says, and agrees with me, because this is what I think. Parasocial can be both a good thing or a bad thing. Except the only criticism at the end of the fucking, all of everything he's saying, always ends, all roads lead to, it is parasocial, therefore it is bad. And we need to focus on explaining, we have to nail down that your relationship is parasocial, and in doing so, that proves that your relationship is bad, but have not explained why it's bad, because parasocial can be both good or bad. And even by your own definition, a mentorship relationship is inherently parasocial by Whick's own standards. So I don't know what the fuck is I agree it's a mentorship, so why is it bad? If we both agree it's a mentorship and that can be parasocial, why is it bad? And the reason, when pressed on it, is it's weird. And weird can also be good or bad. So the problem with not understanding it is that he's made it so broad where it can literally be a good thing or a bad thing. And I do not know what the actual thing is about it that is bad.
All right, how about this then? How about we use the description that instead of it just being weird or bad, how about it be childishly obsessive? Would that be an okay description?
So much better.
Yes.
So much better. Infinitely better.
But Whick won't say something like that.
Let me speak, because I just came in here. I just wanted to lay this out because it seems so odd that you guys can't seem to reach any sort of understanding.
But we both just fucking agreed with you, motherfucker. Okay.
No, hold on, bitch.
Don't keep moving on as if we don't keep moving on as if we didn't just. You're gonna pretend that we didn't. I don't care. This is my stream. This is Whick's stream. I don't know if Elder Drive is streaming, but just because you came on to my stream doesn't mean you have why don't you just fucking take your pants off and rub your balls over? No, get the fuck off. Okay, don't just pretend that we both didn't just agree with you right then and then move on as if we didn't and continue your fucking point. Your point is fucking destroyed. It's fucking buried, long dead.
Okay.
Anything else, bitch?
How'd you know I wasn't wearing pants?
Anyway, the whole point is maybe it's childishly obsessive, but also it can be a bad thing because let's think about the person you are obsessing childishly over. It's someone who is creepy, has some really severe mental issues, who you kind of adopted his manner of speaking and how Mr. Girl, whenever he has a conversation with anybody, he's just like, look, I know what you're doing. You're trying to get me into this box and you're trying to root me down this level. Well, I don't want to talk like that. It's like he doesn't talk like a normal human fucking being. And you've been adopting his kind of manner of speaking. And you say that you're having a mentorship with a guy that you don't even fucking know. Like, you don't fucking know who Max is. Have you ever spent a day with him and personally? Have you ever like actually interacted with him beyond the internet? You don't fucking know him?
I feel like I know Drazi, but...
Do you actually interact with him?
So much stuff that needs extra stuff to it.
I know what everything he said. That is what, like, that's I don't agree with you, but I think it's within.
You don't have to agree with me, but I mean,
no, yeah, I respect.
You're wrong.
That. I respect. I respect all that. I respect all that.
I agree with most of what he said, but like he didn't say like a lot of things. I'm like, well, why is that bad? Why is that a concern? That just
because Max is.
Imagine obsessively, childishly being obsessed with somebody who is like Max. I mean, it's kind of self-evident why that's kind of sad. And
it seems like you would have an issue if somebody was childishly obsessed with anything. The whole point of using childishly
no, it's Max. No,
it's bad, right?
No.
It also fits in this context specifically because of who Max is and how you, Smeth, go about showing your admiration for this person. It's kind of self-evident.
I don't agree with that I go
that's
around.
All I had to say.
But yeah, no, I agree. I respect that. I know he's that's because he's a fucking coward. Okay, because I actually started to actually agree with him, but he's not here to. He's just here to fucking go on his soapbox. So the agreement that I just had was on the basis that what he's saying actually sounds like a real criticism on my behalf. Because the only reason to levy that is because he's concerned about me, but I don't think he really cares about me.
Are you going to be streaming on Twitch after this?
I'm not. I'm going to be on. Well, I'm technically on Twitch, but not. No, I'm gonna do my closing monologue. However the fuck that happens, I don't ever know what I'm gonna say until I say it, and then I'm gonna end my stream.
Before you go.
Oh, yeah.
Drazi, a question for you before you go and before we end this.
Sure.
Do you think that the relationship that Smeth has with Max is cause for concern?
No. I would say that, unlike most people, as somebody who says that they have a good understanding of Mr. Girl, which I really think I do, there's very few people in this space that I would trust for Smeth to have that kind of relationship with and not have it be harmful to Smeth any more than I would be concerned about like any relationship being harmful to somebody. I think that Mr. Girl is like probably autistically doing the right thing, at least insofar as he thinks that it's right in, by anybody's metric of like them doing right.
Mr. Girl, he said that it's good for me when I suck his dick. So, and it's protein, and he's a personal trainer.
Drazi, this is probably one of your worst takes, but it's okay. I still love you.
See these neck muscles?
Do you know how insane I would be if I didn't think that and I support Mr. Girl and I think that
a lot of people.
Consistent.
These are dick sucking lips. This is a riot. This is a riot and stash.
Well, I'm saying it would be bizarre if I didn't think that.
Maybe, but I'm just saying we'll fix it. We'll do it. We'll fix it.
Smeth,
we'll get you.
These glasses. These aren't glasses. These are cum goggles.
What did you
these
have to say
protect
to
my
Smeth
vision.
Before we end this,
I just wanted to say publicly, Smeth, I still want to talk to you about your thing. I don't want to gaslight you, but from a writing perspective and some other things like that.
Sure.
I actually liked it, and I reviewed it on stream and gave it pretty much positive.
It made you uncomfortable at points. I noticed too. We can talk about that.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made me vulnerable when I wasn't prepared to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's streaming? We'll go to Stardust.
Thanks, Whick. Thanks, Smeth.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right. Uh-oh. Every adult is left out of the room, and all you've got left is fucking childish, obsessive Smeth. And who do I have to obsess over when Max isn't here, and Whick isn't here, and Drazi isn't here? Who the fuck am I gonna obsess over? And it's fucking you. So why don't you fucking get your fucking ass ready? The stream is coming to an end.
Isaac and his mother lived alone in a small house on a hill. Isaac kept to himself, drawing pictures and playing with his toys as his mom watched Christian broadcasts on the television. Life was simple, and they were both happy. That was until the day Isaac's mom heard a voice from above. Your son has become corrupted by sin. He needs to be saved. I will do my best to save him, my lord, Isaac's mother replied, rushing into Isaac's room, removing all that was evil from his life. A Again the voice called to her. Isaac's soul is still corrupt. He needs to be cut off from all that is evil in this world and confess his sins. I will follow your instructions, Lord. I have faith in thee, Isaac's mother replied, as she locked Isaac in his room, away from the evils of the world. One last time, Isaac's mom heard the voice of God calling to her. You've done as I've asked, but I still question your devotion to me. To prove your faith, I will ask one more thing of you. Yes, Lord, anything, Isaac's mother begged. To prove your love and devotion, I require a sacrifice. Your son Isaac will be this sacrifice. Go into his room and end his life as an offering to me to prove you love me above all else. Yes, Lord, she replied, grabbing a butcher's knife from the kitchen. Isaac, watching through a crack in his door, trembled in fear. Scrambling around his room to find a hiding place, he noticed a trapdoor to the basement hidden under his rug. Without hesitation, he flung open the hatch, just as his mother burst through his door and threw himself down into the unknown depths below.
Have a good fucking night. I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye.